Welcome to Clarke Stadium in Edmonton for ICU Video's broadcast of the 2018 Prairie Football Conference regular season finale featuring the Battle of Edmonton between the Edmonton Wildcats and the Edmonton Huskies. Good afternoon, football fans. I'm Kevin Donnan, and I'll be your host and sideline reporter for today's action between the 2-5 Wildcats and the Edmonton Huskies. The Wildcats come into this game knowing that a missed field goal and a missed opportunity early in the season, and they would be well within 500. Head coach Darcy Park is looking for a huge upset or a very competitive outing to close out 2018 in style. As for the Edmonton Huskies, head coach Ian McLean is focusing on execution and discipline as they get ready for the Regina Thunder and next week's Prairie Football Conference semifinal against the Thunder right here at Clarke Stadium. The best way to close out the regular season is with the best rivalry in the PFC, the Battle of Edmonton, the Wildcats against the Huskies. And now I have the honor of welcoming back our analyst, the coach, John Belmont, who is back from post-surgery. He made it all the way upstairs on crutches. Guys, it's great to see the coach back in the booth. Let's send things upstairs to Dave and John Belmont. Welcome back, Coach.
And that
Thanks,
goes
Kevin.
double for me, too.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
The new John Belmont, all new and improved, right?
Yeah, bionic.
Bionic? Yeah, you bet. And we heard it, like we said, the bearings from like a 68 Chevelle are in there or something. But we're so glad to have you back, Coach.
As long as it's not a Ford, I'll be okay.
All right,
Well-
JB, it's going to be an interesting football game. As I talked to Ian McLean before the game, he's not really concerned about this rivalry thing. It's to him, it doesn't really mean that much. What means much to him is getting a home playoff berth next weekend.
That's the key to it. They must win today to get that berth. And the biggest thing about it now is to play very well. Earlier in the season, they beat the Wildcats pretty handily. Wildcats have improved right through the season. So it'll be an interesting game.
All right, we'll be talking with Ian McLean, of course, at the end of the first half of football. But what do you expect from both these teams? Let's start with the Huskies.
I think the Huskies have to show offensively they can move the ball with discipline. Stay away from the offsides procedure calls. Get things rolling, control the ball, control the field position.
And they've got Brant Burzak back in the lineup after missing last week. That's just a huge, huge plus.
Well, it is. He's such a good back, and he's very hard to hit. He's small, very, very quick, and unbelievable balance.
And Jason Brown is back in the lineup as well.
Well, probably the best, maybe the best middle linebacker in Canada today. Outstanding football player.
And the leading tackler, even after missing last week's game, he remains the leading tackler in the Prairie Football Conference. And we're set to get this game underway. Cole Sabourin playing in his last regular season game as an Edmonton Husky. Had a chance to talk with him before the game, and we'll do more on that as the game progresses. Sabourin with a good high end-over-end kick. It'll come down to about the 10-yard line. It'll be taken there by Jake Withrow. Withrow up to the 20. He meets head-on with one of the big Husky tacklers, and I believe that was number 83 down there, Justin Miller.
Justin Miller was second in. Number 1, O'Shane Samuel was the first one in. Tremendous hit. Excellent coverage by the Huskies to get the Wildcats to start on their 20. We've talked about this many times, but as a return team, you'd like to get it over the 35.
And the ball is at the 20. It'll be first down for the Edmonton Wildcats. Justin Swedish at quarterback hands it off to the right side and plowing his way forward for a gain of about maybe 3 or 4 yards is number 28, David Adebayo.
And he was tackled by both Jason Brown and Vince Schiffer. Brown, if they continue to run the ball tackle to tackle, Brown will have quite a day tackling.
And expect Adebayo to be very busy himself with the absence of Kiefer Moak, their leading receiver, who has gone on to another life after football in Winnipeg. So they will miss him. That means that running game is going to be all important.
It will be. And now here we have another situation. I think there's a holding call on the Wildcats. They gained pretty good yardage on this, but I think the Huskies will take them back.
They had to get to just over the 30, and I think they got there, but as you say, penalty. Let's hear Kyle Miller.
Holding, Wildcats, number 61.
All right, holding is the call against the Wildcats. Kyle Tice from the Lloydminster Barons getting the call on that one. So that will move the football back to about the 13-yard line. So it'll be second and about 16 yards to go for the first down.
We'll see if the Huskies bring heat on this. No, they're playing at pace.
Adebayo with it once again, and Adebayo tries the left side of that line and is piled up there by O'Shane Samuelson. O'Shane playing in his last regular season game as a Husky as well.
And he loves to bring the timber. He's a hard-hitting football player. Remember, he can play corner, he can play linebacker. Tremendous athlete.
Out of St. Edmund Campion High School in Brampton, Ontario. All right, so it'll be punt time and back punting and faking and going into the end zone and deciding he'll take the knee is number 17, Matt Zeroni. And Zeroni replacing Rosario Camarata. Zeroni has actually not been tip-top for most of this season, and Camarata has been doing all the punting.
Now, it's very interesting that at this point of the game that they would give up a safety. They're probably looking at, they didn't want the Huskies to be in plus field position. So now the Wildcats will kick off to the Huskies from their own 35. The Huskies should get fair field position on this.
Talking with Coach Darcy Park before the game, and he mentioned that he would be putting Matt in there. Matt, of course, has a pretty good arm, too. He does have some quarterbacking experience, and the fake is always there when Matt Zeroni is doing the punting.
There is, and Matt is a very good athlete, all-around athlete. Oh, yeah. So you can run with him, you can throw with him, you can punt with him.
New definition of a triple threat.
It is, but in special teams, it can be very important.
And kicking off for the Wildcats from their own 35 will be Rosario Camarata out of Paul Kane High School. The lefty gets a spiraling kick down to about the 30-yard line. It'll be taken there by number 8, Wesley Bookland, and Bookland is piled up just shy of the 50-yard line. We'll make that just over the 40-yard line. So it'll be first down from there, and pretty good job of downfield tackling by the Wildcats.
It was. The return man came across the field. If he had got vertical a little quicker, he probably would have got more yardage. But you're over the 40-yard line. Very good field position for the Huskies.
Run back of about 6 yards or so. The starting quarterback is Tommy Yanchuk for the Edmonton Huskies. He's back in the pocket, throws to this side, complete along the sidelines, taken there by number 81, Nick Hikawi out of Spruce Grove.
About a 4-yard gain.
Coach Ian McLean going with patience. Just get a few yards here, a few yards there. We know that Yanchuk has the arm that's capable of throwing 45, 50 yards downfield. There's that option, and the read option is successful as it gets over the first down territory. And back in the lineup, Brant Burzik with a gain of close to about 8 yards.
Like you said, you know, that little zone read they do in there, and gave the ball to Burzek, and his quickness showed on that play for the first down.
That's the first thing that Ian McLean says he wants to establish, that running game. Get some balanced offense out there, and he didn't. Well, he had a bit of it last week, but not so much without Brant Burzik in the lineup. There's the shotgun formation. The pass, it is knocked down, and a good job getting up there was Adner St. Hilaire.
Here's a situation where you try. That's a very quick pass. A quarterback is set in gun. He's about 5 yards. That ball has got to be gone now. But you also have to take your blocks low, and you allow the defender to get in and get the hand up. You can't do that on these quick passes.
All right, again out of the shotgun with 3 receivers to the far side of the field. The action goes to the right and back in the pocket and being hurried. Puts it up. He's got a man open. It is complete to Harrison Cable at the 25-yard line. And I'll tell you what a great job by Tommy Yanchuk to get that one away, JB.
It was a job getting it away, but I'll tell you, that was a wounded duck going down the field. Tommy's going to be very thankful for Harrison Cable to hustle to the ball the way he did and go low and make the catch, because that ball could very easily have been incompleted or intercepted.
So a gain of about 35 yards on that play. And here's the play action into the middle, complete at the 15, down to the 10-yard line is number 10, Justin Hodinsky.
Actually, that was 30. Morgan
30.
Runge plays the fullback for them. That's a nice little loop they like to do, and they're very effective with that, and I was very impressed with Tommy Yanchuk's coolness on that. His deep route wasn't open. He checked down, hit for the first down.
So Morgan Runge gets the first down. It'll be first and 10 from about the 11-yard line. And again, out of the shotgun, rolling left. Yanchuk into the end zone. It is incomplete. Great diving attempt there by Harrison Cable. And he couldn't quite pull it down. I think he was out of bounds anyway when he went for it.
Guys, going back 2 plays earlier, Harrison Cable, he showed great concentration. He wouldn't have been in bounds, but 2 plays earlier, Harrison, I mean, that was about 15 yards in front of me, and he just showed tremendous concentration on that catch, guys, because he had Dalkey breathing right down his neck. Tremendous Cable.
All right, thanks, Kevin. It'll be second and 10. Ball on the 11-yard line out of the shotgun. Once again, they have a mix-up in the backfield, and getting away with the football and throwing it is Tommy Yanchuk, incomplete to Sam Clayton.
Now there's a situation where Brent Burzek saved Tommy's butt on that. He made a tremendous block inside, and I don't know if it was a blitz or the Wildcats are running like the Huskies do, that 30 front, mixing up where they're bringing their linebackers from, and that is very difficult to block. But they did a very good job of it on that play because of Burzek.
All right, this is a good defensive stand for the Edmonton Wildcats as they force the Huskies into a field goal from about the 18-yard line. Bad snap, but they pick it up and get it through. And there's that veteran, Cole Sabarin, under pressure, and he puts it through the uprights.
If you noticed, it was a bad snap. Connor Mickle continually comes up with the ball and gets it pinned. He might be the best holder I've seen in the Huskies in many, many years. And he's done it now for the 2 or 3 years he has been the holder. He can have bad snaps all over the place. He gets that ball down. As a place kicker, you're moving before that ball is even caught. That's how much trust he has in Connor.
Well, we've said it so many times this season, the Edmonton Wildcats defense bends, but it doesn't break. Here's the handoff to Adebayo. He has some room on the right side and makes it up over the 40-yard line to about the 41, and he'll pick up a gain of close to 6 yards on the play.
Now, if you look at that, the entire offensive line of the Wildcats was 5 yards downfield. That tells me they're getting underneath the pads of the Huskies. And the Huskies are going to have to get a little tougher in here because the running game of the Wildcats is very effective at this time.
So it'll be 2nd and 4, ball on the 41-yard line. 2 receivers to this side. They do a little bit of a waggle. And it again goes to Adebayo, and Adebayo just plows his way over a couple of Huskies linemen and one of their linebackers as well for another gain of close to 6 yards and more than enough for the first down.
More than enough, and I think that was Vince Shifter, who's a very strong physical linebacker, that he got underneath his pads and drove and made the tackle, but got enough for the first down.
I'll tell you what, when you got a 5'9", 205-pound running back with a head start coming at you, he can be a bit of a chore. There it is once again. Adebayo has some room on the left side, and again will pick up close to 6 or 7 yards on the play, just shy of the midfield stripe.
Now, because of the front that the Huskies were in, the Wildcats, if you see it here, cross-blocked the play, and that opened the hole. And the linebacker made a good tackle on the play, but it was still enough for about 5 yards.
Rookie Colton Densmore out of the Prairie Fire down in Calgary is the injured Husky player. Looks like they're taking a look at his right knee or ankle. Colton Densmore, one of a number of rookies who saw quite a bit of action last week. And again this week too as well. So, you know, they just keep bringing back the football players from wherever they can get them, including Calgary.
You have to do that. And, you know, that if you take a look at the Huskies, they are in a position where they just kind of reload. The Wildcats are building. And as you know, they've got a lot of young guys on this team, and Darcy Park has done an admirable job of bringing young players in with the right attitude that are disciplined will play the game the right way. And this is what will tell down the road. Now, if you look at where the Wildcats took over, 35-yard line, they've got one first down, and they could be on their way to another first down here. Put them in pretty good position, getting plus territory.
Guys, and the injury to Densmore here is quite serious. He is not putting any weight whatsoever on that right foot. So we'll definitely keep you updated in terms of the injury situation, but it's a pretty serious either ankle or lower leg injury, guys.
Thanks, Kevin.
Huskies have an inordinate number of injuries to defensive ends this year.
There's the handoff to Adebayo, and Adebayo is stopped at the line of scrimmage, and it looks like we're going to have a little post-curricular activity.
Now, in the middle of that was defensive halfback Brandon Mellon, who's been known to get fired up a little bit.
Yeah, and he got Adebayo fired up too.
Well, the thing is that he just drew a 15-yard penalty.
Yep.
They had the Wildcats stopped at midfield. And here they go. Wildcats are going to get a UR, or Huskies are getting a UR that just enables the drive to continue. This drives coaches absolutely crazy. You love the fire in a player, but you have to have the discipline.
So starting this drive on the 35-yard line, the ball is now on their own 35-yard line. The ball is now on the Husky 42-yard line. Justin Swedish, the starting quarterback for the Wildcats, hands it off to the right side, and this time it is Ramon English, and English cannot get around the outside, and we're going to have a holding call against the Wildcats, but the nice job by the linebackers to string that one out.
Very good job by the linebackers, defensive end, just strung it right to the sideline. Now, here's a case they might decline this penalty because they've got him second and about 15.
A loss of 3 on the play. It'll be 2nd and 13. Ball right on the 45-yard line with 8:04 to go in this first quarter. 5-0 football game in favor of the Edmonton Huskies. Starting out of the shotgun with twin setbacks is Justin Swedish. Play action, looking downfield. Lots of time, has a man open, and it is complete at the 10-yard line. Taken there by number 81. Who else but Lucas Howe?
We have, I believe, offside or procedure on the Wildcats. I think a receiver jumped. We'll have to take a look, but I believe this is what happened. That's tremendous concentration by the receiver on that play. Huskies were over the top, and they had a man underneath. Quarterback put the ball where it had to be. Wonderful concentration.
Procedure is the call, and it will go against the Wildcats. So they had no end on the play.
What happens on that sometimes if you're playing a tight end and the tight end flips the other side, the wide receiver on this side must move up to become a tight end, or you don't have 7 on the line. And that's what happened.
That's a little bit of a switch in strategy for the Wildcats. Talking to Darcy Park before the game, he's going to go with a single tight end for most of this contest. Just it gives their running back game a little bit of a boost too. There's that play action once again. He's got a man open going up for it and triple covered, but nearly pulled down by Nick Hikawi.
Well, it was, but in my opinion, on that play, the man who made that happen, it looked like was it number 8? Could have been West Brooklyn, but it went up, come from the corner position, knock it down. But like you said, Dave, they had 3 men in the field position.
And a bit of a lame duck pass, too. One of those high loopers. One of those Tom Wilkinson kind of passes. So Zeroni fakes it, then kicks it away, and there's going to be a flag on the play, obviously, for no yards. Taken there by Wes Bookland, who, after watching him the last couple of weeks, JB, I got to say, he is one of the premier punt returners in this league and quickly becoming that anyway.
Well, I love what I saw there. He attacked the punt, and he had a good he knew where the defenders were. He knew he was going to draw that no yards call. So whatever he got in relationship to, this should be a 15-yard penalty, not a 5-yard.
And it will be exactly that, and that brings the football all the way up to about the 43-yard line. So, again, good field position for the Huskies.
And Again, going back to the pass that was knocked down by Buchanan. Justin was going to his wrong side, to his left side, and he didn't square up, so he didn't get a lot on the ball.
There's the handoff to Rozak. Rozak is piled up at the line of scrimmage. You have to believe that this defensive line is keyed on Rozak for this game.
I would think to a degree they are, but I think the biggest thing that they want to do with this style of defense is attack the gaps. Take the gaps away from them. If you do that, it doesn't matter who's running the ball. You'll stop them.
All right, little pass out into the flats. It is complete to Tanner Buchanan, and Buchanan is hit and hit hard at about the 50-yard line after a gain of close to 7 yards on the play.
One thing here, if you see it on the replay, Tanner turns up a little quicker. He's getting a first down. He angled a little too much inside on the play, so he didn't get the lane, call it a lane. Some people call it the freeway, getting up in there. And it's just something that receivers, as they get more and more experience in there, they feel it. That was good defense by the Wildcats.
So the Wildcats stop the Huskies again, and this time Cole Sabourin with a great punt all the way down to the 15-yard line, up to the 25 and still going, and hit by about 3 different Husky players was number 8, Jake Withrow.
Well, again, a good return, but the man who stopped a big return was Justin Hodinsky, who's contained man on this side. He forced him to come back inside, and then O'Shane Samuel came in like a runaway freight train to stop him. Well, that's good coverage.
And guys, the rivalry is back. This is one hard-hitting football game. There's going to be ice bags everywhere after this one, guys.
We can hear it up here, Kevin, no question about it. There's a mix-up in the backfield, and Swedish is forced to take off with it. And the ball is fumbled, picked up by the Huskies, in for the touchdown. Number 33, Vince Schiffner, out of Millwoods Christian, the 6-man football team squad. And just one of those things.
Just stole it right out of his hands. And this is just staying on the ball. Not quit, not quit.
He's digging in there, he's digging in there, he grabs it.
The whistle had not gone, and that's just good football, good astute football. Heads up play by Vince Schiffner. Rob Harrod will be proud of him.
Point after, Cole Sabourin with 5:35 to go in the first quarter. It's 11-0 in favor of the Huskies. There's the point after. And a good start to this football game for the Huskies, and just one of those bad breaks. I'm surprised that the whistle didn't go. He had been piled up. Well, I didn't think he had it forward motion left, but whatever.
You know, it's interesting. I've seen that a fair amount this year, not just at this level, but at high school level, university levels. They seem to be holding the whistles a little long. Excuse me. But that allows a play like that to happen if you got a heads-up defensive player. And the ball carrier was not holding on to the ball the way he should have.
It was just a great heads-up play. I mean, it's just absolutely just really great defensive football. And that absolutely lit up the Husky bench. So the Huskies definitely have the wind under their, in their sails now. But just a great heads-up play.
Okay, Kevin, 5:35 to go in the first quarter. 12-0 in favor of the Huskies as Cole Sabourin gets another good end-over-end kick down to about the 5-yard line, this time taken by Ramon English. He's up to the 10, still going to the 20, and dances his way over the 25, but is just hammered. And in there to make the tackle was Justin Hodinsky.
For a guy his size, he does deliver the timber. I'll tell you.
You hear that one up here.
You could. He hit it hard. Going back to Kevin's statement before, I think he brought up an excellent point about how that play by Schiffner has lifted the bench. This could be a turning point for the Huskies to bring up their level of competition.
Well, we expected a great defensive battle from the Edmonton Wildcats, and we've had it to this point. But the Huskies defense has come up with the big 6 points and 7 points.
We are either getting a hold or it is a holding call on the Wildcats. I think they'll decline this. I think the position they're in, the Huskies will decline it.
Wildcats, number 55. Number 55.
Holding is the call on Richard McGuire out of Ross Shep High School, second-year player.
What this gives the Huskies now is a 2nd and 10 situation, basically forcing a passing situation, which they want.
Defensive backfield playing up tight, man defense. And there's the pass. It is incomplete into the middle and intended there for number 80, Sam Clay. Make that number 80, Brandon Rednord.
You know, for Rendorf, that was probably a saving grace that ball went through, because Brandon Mellon, who is a known headhunter, had him lined up. He was going to knock him out. And I give Mellon credit, because 2 years ago he'd have hit him and probably drawn a penalty. In this case, he laid off.
All right, it'll be third, and punting away again will be Matt Zeroni from about the, well, he'll get it away from his own 15-yard line or so. Zeroni gets an end over end. He had pressure coming. Ball bounces over the midfield stripe. It'll be taken there by Withrow. Or make that Buchanan. Buchanan just keeps going. He keeps dancing. Now he's running with it to the 30, 35, down to the 20. And he is taken down just shy of the 15-yard line. And that was all Wes Buchanan to begin with, and then he just took off with the speed. What great moves.
You know, Dave, you've said that. You've seen it last few weeks, how he has come along. He just seems to read the field real well, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
And he pops that opening, and boy, he moves pretty well.
A great job too by the coaching staff to get those lanes set up, and once they're there, Buchanan seems to be able to find them.
That's right, and this is the key, to get on your blocks and to keep your hips moving. Keep your feet moving at all times, and the ball carrier will find the lane.
Ball on the 16-yard line. First down for the Edmonton Huskies. Tommy Yanchuk at quarterback. There's the handoff to Berzik. Berzik has some room, and he's got the touchdown. Brent Berzik.
And guys, this goes back to that Schiffner play completely. The Wildcats' body language, hands on their hips, that play absolutely deflated the Wildcats, so you can see the impact of that. Right now, the Huskies have just taken over completely.
Next, Kevin, go ahead.
That's a good point, Kevin. And when you lift a team, it could be a big hit, whatever, but a big play like that, if you look at the offense, this offense is totally different from what we saw at the start of the game. Line's getting off better, exploding into the holes, and maybe the Wildcats are laying off just a little.
Convert is good, and with 4:02 to go in the first quarter, it's 19-0 in favor of the Huskies, and I'm sure that this is exactly what Coach Darcy Park was afraid of would happen. Just a couple of early breaks, and now it's 19-0.
And that is such a good point. Again, going back to the situation of how big play could turn a game around, because up to that point, this game was tight. And now it's changing dramatically. Now the thing is, can Darcy Park get his team settled down and get back into a fighting mode? The Huskies have all the momentum going for them. Can the Wildcats take that away? Huskies, and I know what Coach McLean's thinking, put the gas pedal down and keep going.
Pedal to the metal. And here goes Savarin once again. Been a busy man so far in this first quarter. Gets a low driving kick down to the 5-yard line. Again, it'll be taken by Withrow. He's up to the 10. He looks like he's going to go wide. Tries to get around the outside. Can't. He is pulled down from behind. And who else but O'Shane Samuels?
That was actually Stephen Walensky was the first guy down there, 44, in on that. And then O'Shane Samuel had him cut off from the outside, turned him up. The two of them, that was just very well done coverage by the Huskies. That is tough to cover, Dave, because that was a low line drive kick, which you don't like to have. It gives blocking angles to the offense.
Justin Swedish at quarterback. David Adebayo is the ball carrier, and he is stopped and hauled down just over the line of scrimmage. And in there to make the tackle, I believe, was number 44, if I'm not mistaken, and that is Steve Wolinski.
Actually,
41.
This one was Jason Brown.
Yeah, Jason Brown, yeah.
They kind of, it looked to me, either read it real quick or they were stunting him. And either way, it worked very well.
Adebayo still in at running back. 3 receivers to this side. There's play action. And now running out of the pocket and being taken down by 3 of the Edmonton Huskies players was Justin Swedish, and he's going to lose close to about 5 or 6 yards on the play. So now the defense from the Huskies has just turned it up a little bit.
Guys, and have an injury update. Sorry, guys, just have a quick injury update. Number 76, Colton Densmore, has been testing the ankle on the sideline. He looks like he could be ready for the next defensive series. So a Huskies defense that is going to back one of those ends. So Densmore looks good to return at some point, guys.
Good news, Kevin. There's the snap, and they'll take a knee. And so with 2:45 to go, it's now 21-0 in favor of the Huskies.
Very interesting on that last play. The Huskies brought pressure. The man who made the tackle on English, number 33, Vince Schiffner. And I think English was holding on to the ball pretty tight at that point.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
But isn't it amazing, Dave, how one play can make such a tremendous difference in a game? This whole game has totally turned around.
Well, we've still got lots of time left. 2:45 in the first quarter. And yeah, 21-0 is a tough number to come back from, but the Wildcats, with a break or two here and there, you never know what can happen in this league.
And in football, momentum changes could be dramatic.
I remember some games we did last year. There were at least half a dozen momentum changes in the game.
That's exactly right. And for the coaches, those can be very tough on the heart.
All right, that was interesting, but they're a good kick away, and it's going to come down to the 20-yard line. It'll be taken there again by Wes Bookland, but this time he's going nowhere. He had 3-4 Wildcats right on top of him.
Now, one reason they bring a man across like that, most return teams number off their blocking assignments. They bring the man over, it changes the blocking numbers, and it can hold. And that could have been a reason that they were able to get down and break through the block and make the tackle.
So the ball on the 42-yard line, almost identical to their last series of plays. Yanchuk still at quarterback, twin setbacks. There's the play action, back in the pocket, looking downfield. He's got a man open. It is Harrison Cable. It is picked off by number 2, the veteran Tony Savchuk.
Now that was an excellent interception by Savchuk. 2 things on the play to me. One, there were 2 receivers in the area, which surprised me a little bit. And number 2 was that ball, there wasn't a lot of air under to lay it out where the receiver can run to it. He had to hold up a bit. Tony Savchuk timed his play exactly right. Now, is this a momentum change for the Wildcats? Let's see what the Wildcat offense does.
Harrison Cable was the intended receiver. There's the pass. It is complete at the 50-yard line, going up for it and coming down with it on a great catch was number 81 for the Wildcats, Lucas Howe.
Now on that play, if you look at it, Justin Hudinsky was in perfect position to make a good hard hit. He thought he was a little early, so he held up. And actually, he went down.
And guys, this crowd is into it. We've got a whiteout on the east side. We've got a great crowd here today too, guys, and they're into it.
Always fun out here, Kevin. There's no question about it. There's the pass. It is well over the head of number 5, Leighton Barasenkoff out of Hunting Hills High School in Red Deer.
And the reason for that is they brought Cole Lindbergh, outside linebacker, on that play. He got right into quarterback's face. That's very, very difficult on a quarterback to maintain your poise and to put that ball where it has to be.
All right, Swedish gets the call from the sidelines. We've got 3 receivers to the far side. There's the handoff. Adebayo pushes away one of his own blockers, now takes off with it. He's at the 35, down to the 30, and is taken down just over the 30-yard line. Great job by David Adebayo.
Now, earlier in this game, we talked about the Wildcats defense and how they would try to cancel gaps. On this play, the Huskies doing the same thing. They had a couple of players who pitched inside thinking they had him stopped. He stepped outside, and he had a lane, got the big first down.
All right, two receivers to the far side, 3 to this side. Now getting hurt out of the pocket is Swedish, and Swedish is taken down as he runs right into a tackler, really. I thought he'd be taking off to the outside, but he ran right into one of the big guys down there, number 74, Corbin Brown.
And again, on that play, 96, Josh Lenz did a nice job on containing, force him to come back up inside, and the inside people took care of business.
So it's a loss of about, we'll call it 7. 2nd and 17. Swedish hands it off to Adebayo. There's that hole again on the left side, and Adebayo is down to about the 21, 22-yard line. I think he had to get to the 20 to get the first down, but he's going to be short by about a yard or so.
It's just a little pull on that, and they did a very, very good job of sealing the front of the Huskies. The Huskies are going to have to make a little adaptation on that because they've done that twice now. One where he stepped out to it, and the other one where he just ran to it on this last play.
All right, there's a call going against the Huskies. Believe it was offside. We'll wait for the call from Kyle.
Offside, Huskies, number 8. 5-yard penalty, remaining 2nd down.
There's a case where you have a corner, and what happened was he was in a press position, and he got into the neutral zone. Now, he has to ask the official if he's all right, just as the receivers do. If he doesn't, he's going to get called offside.
Okay, so now they took the penalty. They were 17 yards, 18 yards back. Now they're 2nd and about 12 rather than being 3rd and about 1. Yeah. Interesting call.
It is.
All right, there's the handoff again. Adebayo has some room, and closing in on him from the linebacker position, or make that the defensive back position, was number 10, Justin Hodinsky. But again, all kinds of room on that left side.
They're having a problem with the left defensive end and their outside people on that side. And this is something Jeff Tolbert, the defensive coordinator, he's going to have to figure out a reason, either personnel change, which he has just made on the inside. So we'll see how that goes. And sometimes, you know what happens.
Okay, well, that's the end of the first quarter. We'll get back to that in the second quarter, JB, and want to remind you about some of the many sponsors of this Edmonton Huskies football team. Hertz Equipment Rental, the Edmonton Eskimos, congratulations on that great victory yesterday, the Eskimo Excavators Limited, and, of course, the Glen Sather Sports Medicine Clinic. And let's go downstairs for some news from Kevin.
Well, thanks a lot, Dave. ICU Video would like to pass along our thoughts, prayers, and best wishes to a group of 5 football players injured in a car accident this past Thursday just outside Raymond, Alberta. 5 players from the Raymond Comets were hurt in the accident, with 2 airlifted to Calgary via Stars. And of course, Alberta's football family may have some intense rivalries on the field, but every player, coach, volunteer, and official in the Alberta football community, and of course we here at ICU Video, want the Comets to know that we're thinking about them, praying for the players involved and their families, and for the entire team. So we wish them speedy recoveries and all the best. And I know, Coach, it's every coach's prayer. You kind of, every time you see the players leave the facility, be it for a game or a practice, you always kind of close your eyes and say a silent prayer. And it's a tough one, but you know, we sure wish the best to the Raymond Comets, guys.
Thanks very much, Kevin. Appreciate that. And, you know, knowing over the years the success of the Raymond Comets, they just keep coming back year after year. It is such a great football community.
Absolutely.
That whole area. If you look at McGrath, you look at, go down to Carson,
Fort McLeod.
Fort McLeod. I mean, it's good, just wonderful football in that southwest part of the province.
Darcy Oganowski, the head coach at AOB, his teams used to go down to Cardston every single year in the preseason because that's how he got his teams battle tested and ready to go. I mean, he had still has tremendous respect for that football community in southern Alberta, and we certainly are, praying for the recoveries of those 5 players, guys.
Thanks, Kevin, and we are set to get this second quarter underway with the Edmonton Wildcats deep in Edmonton Huskies territory at about the 19-yard line inside the red zone. 3 receivers to the far side. There's a handoff to Adebayo, and this time he is going nowhere. Sniffing that one out was Vince Schiffner, who is having just a heck of a football game.
Vince Schiffner is a very physical football player. He's gotten used to the game at this level where it's slowed down. He's very strong. He's very fast, very agile. Made a very good play on that.
A loss of about a yard. They'll mark it at the 20-yard line. Justin Swedish at quarterback. The single setback is David Adebayo. 3 receivers to the far side. Straight back in the pocket now. Looking into the end zone. He's got lots of time. It is picked off in the middle. And who else? Vince Schiffner.
He's gone.
And no one, Justin Swedish is the only one who can catch him, and he's not going to. Vince Schiffner with his second, I guess we could call it a pick 6. That was a pick 6, and the other one, well, he picked the ball away from Swedish, so.
Either way.
Wow.
Either way, he took the ball away from Swedish. And the biggest thing about it, again, they dropped him into that zone. You look at it, they drop him, he throws into it, and then he just takes off, and you look at his speed.
And somewhere Rob Harrod is saying, I taught the kid everything he knows. But what a play and what a game. And we're barely 2 quarters into this thing, and Vince Schiffner is stealing the show.
He is.
Go ahead.
He's just a wonderful young football player, loves the game. And as Ian McLean will tell you, he plays with tremendous passion, and that's what you need.
Point after from Cole Sabarin. Officials are having a discussion, I think, with somebody on the Huskies sideline now. Or I think we're set to go. And you can just look at the body language out there of the Edmonton Wildcats. A lot of slouching going on. All right, point after. Connor Mickle to hold. Ball is out, it's down, it's up, and it is through the uprights. So with 14:01 to go, it is the Edmonton Huskies 28 and the Edmonton Wildcats no score. And, even as tough as I know the Huskies team is, I did not expect this fast a turnaround like that.
I didn't either. And, but I'm honest with you, you're talking 2 big plays, 14 points. All right, both by the same player.
Right.
Now, before that, as the team was driving down the field, the Wildcats were driving into plus territory, doing a pretty good job. And then they turned over here. What was the difference? They moved Skylar Schellenberg back into the defensive end on the Husky right side. All of a sudden, the Wildcats started going back to their right instead of to their left, because Schellenberg is a tremendous defensive end. So then now they ran away from him. What happened? Schiffner makes a tackle on the line of scrimmage. Next thing, they're expecting pass. They drop Schiffner off into the deep zone. English misreads it, throws right to Schiffner, and the rest is history.
And Swedish throwing into a group of players. I think he was surrounded. The receiver was surrounded by about 3. But a good job of reading the eyes of the quarterback by Vince Schiffner. He knew exactly where that ball was going to go and just stepped up right in front of it before it was even halfway there.
He did just a wonderful job by him.
All right, here we go. Another kickoff for Cole Sabarin. And down to the 10-yard line, taken there by Ramon English. He runs into one of his own blockers into the back of number 47, Zach Brankert, and goes immediately to ground at about the 22-yard line from where the Edmonton Wildcats will take over.
You know, and that guy that really helped make a hit on that, too, was Morgan Runge, number 30. He came down hard and cut him off. It's very hard. The Huskies do a very good job in their special teams and their cover units. They really have good lane discipline and keep everything in front of them.
Swedish still in it there at quarterback. They'll go with a double setback. Ramon English and the big guy, number 47 out there, also at running back and actually playing as a fullback more or less, is number 47, Zach Prankard.
And they blitzed on that play, Cole Lindbergh, and he made the tackle on it. He got in there very quick.
And a loss of about a yard on the play. Last week we saw Zach Prankard playing at, I guess you could call it a fullback position. I mean, the guy's more or less a linebacker. He's a big guy. But boy, I'll tell you what, when he runs the ball and when he hits that line, bodies go flying.
Well, and that's the thing, you know, you try to develop what you have. If you got that type of player, you want to develop that type of offense.
6'1", 260 pounds. Not bad for a running back.
No.
Guys, Captain, down here on the sideline have an update from the out-of-town scoreboard in Calgary. The Regina Thunder lead the Calgary Colts early in the second quarter, 25-0. And, of course, the Regina Thunder will be traveling up the QE2 next Sunday for next week's PFC semifinal. Of course, the Winnipeg Rifles up against the Saskatoon Hilltops. But right now, the Calgary Colts are on their way to a really tough season. So it's been a long 2018 in Calgary, but the Regina Thunder are getting warmed up for next week's semifinal, guys.
Gee, I hope the Huskies win tonight, because I'll tell you what, that could be a hex, Kevin. It ain't over till it's over.
You just never know. That's right.
It ain't over till it's over. There's the pass into the middle. It is complete just over the 25-yard line to about the 27. And again, smothered by a pile of Edmonton Huskies tacklers. I believe was number 5, Leighton Barasenkov.
The Edmonton Huskies right now are playing a lot of zone, but if you notice that ball was in the air, everybody was closing on that pass immediately. So the receiver isn't getting hit by one man. There's 2 and 3 guys hitting him every time.
So again, Matt Zeroni will be forced to kick this one away from about his own 15-yard line. Gets a low snap, gets a good high kick all the way down to about the 46-yard line. It'll be taken there by Connor Mickle, and Mickle is stopped just over the center field stripe.
And again, with Connor, you notice vertical.
Yeah.
Gets up the field very quickly. There's pretty good coverage down there, but he split the seam and got about 12 yards.
12 yards on the run back and into Wildcats territory. Good field position with 12:31 to go in the half. Tommy Yanchuk in at quarterback. The big guy in behind him is number 32, Shamar Booth. And Booth will take the handoff and try the left side, and still going. Finally stopped after a gain of maybe a yard or 2 on the play. But again, that the concept of this low, big, strong running back really seems to be coming back in this in the Prairie Football Conference, don't you think?
Well, to a degree, but the problem with it is you don't have, that's an offside, and Tommy Yanchuk's got a free play.
And it is almost picked off, intended down there for number 81, Nick Hakawi, and he was being covered closely by Jaden Dalkey. It just went through Dalkey's hands.
Now here's a case where they did a little bit of a hard count along with that little jump, and they drew the Wildcat line offside. So Yanchuk knew he had a free shot down there. Let her go. And that's showing, for a second-year quarterback, that's showing a fair amount of understanding of what's going on in the game.
Offside, Wildcats, number 7. Penalty, remains second down.
Chopper Hippie on the call. And even though this is technically his second year in the PFC, this is his first full year as the starting quarterback, and that in itself is a pressure-packed situation to come into as a starting quarterback for the Huskies in your second year. And this is Connor Mickle. Mickle to the 30. And taken down just shy of the 30-yard line. And in there to make the tackle was Brady Kerr out of Spruce Grove.
I don't know if you see on the film here, but watch the block out here.
Right there.
Do you know who made that block?
Yeah.
That was Shamar Booth, wasn't it?
Uh-huh.
Now, you tell me why a guy that is about 5'11", 6 foot, about 270,
Pass incomplete, out of bounds, and intended down there for Chris Edmond from Queenie.
Why did Shamar Booth cut that guy instead of just running over? But it was a wonderful cut block.
Well,
it was a beautiful
works.
cut block.
It works,
did.
yeah.
It was a wonderful block. I like backs who can do that because you can mix up your blocking techniques. And with an individual like Booth, if they expect he's coming down to the feet, they got to play it that way. Now you can come right through them. Their hips are back, and you're in good position.
And a guy like Shamar Booth, I mean, the center of gravity is pretty low too.
Absolutely.
And that always helps.
Yeah.
And he's still out there as the lone setback. We've got two receivers both sides. Now back in the pocket, looking downfield at the 15-yard line. It is complete to Sam Clayton, and the Bev Facey grad brings it into the red zone.
Now, if you look at it on the replay, I don't know if we'll have this. There it is. Tommy Yanchuk held onto the ball a little too long. They almost ran out of sideline room there on that corner route. And again, that's just the experience. He'll get better with that as time goes on. Well-run play.
Ball at the 10-yard line. It'll be first and goal. There's a fumble in the backfield, and Shamar Booth is able to corral it and bring it back underneath him. So a close call there for the Huskies.
Guys, another update from the Uptown scoreboard. Next week's other PFC semifinal will feature the Saskatoon Hilltops against the Winnipeg Rifles, and the Hilltops lead the Rifles with 8:15 to go in the second quarter. They lead 20-0. So that is a PFC semifinal preview. The Hilltops well out in front of the Rifles, 20-0, guys.
And it is all unfolding as it should at this point. Back in the pocket now. Yanchuk being hurried, gets the ball away, and we're going to have an interference call. It will go against Zeroni in the end zone.
Interesting on that. I think Yanchuk was trying to go to the crossing route coming over. He had a receiver wide open and just underthrew that ball. Looked like he threw off his back foot.
Well, they're calling offensive interference or defensive interference, but the ball was nowhere near the receiver.
That should not matter.
In this league?
No. If it was well overthrown, that ball was underthrown, and it's a little different. It was there was a crosser coming over, and he threw it, and he was maybe 5-6 yards from him, and it was not a well-thrown ball, and again thrown off the back foot. But that should be, in my opinion, the interference should be called, because if not, you could be just going hammering on guys out there. Most of these calls are for the protection of the athlete. And the receiver got hit pretty good down there. Yeah.
There is a contact on the Wildcats, number 21, defending 2-5. There's pass interference, number 17 on the Wildcats. That foul happened in the goal within the 1-yard line.
All right, so there was actually two calls.
Yeah, both against the Wildcats.
Yeah.
And then they take the interference call.
And so that will bring the football down to the 1-yard line. And working out of the shotgun again is Tommy Yanchuk, and this time he hands it off left side. Taking it in there is number 32, Shamar Booth, but he is piled up shy of the goal line.
Again, for me, this is just me, but you notice they're on the 1-yard line. They got 1 yard to go, right? Why are you snapping the ball back to a quarterback who's at 5-yard depth, who then hands off to the running back? When you're down in that zone right on the goal line, those defensive linemen are penetrating gaps. They're firing. By the time that back gets to the line of scrimmage on this, there's 2 guys or 3 guys that are 2 to 3 yards in the backfield.
All right, this time Yanchuk under center, and he makes it over the goal line. It's a touchdown, Tommy Yanchuk. He must have been listening to you.
I don't know if they were listening, but I don't know why they didn't do that in the first half.
Yeah, Vince Lombardi is spinning in his grave somewhere. A shotgun from the 1 would never happen back then.
Well, they didn't even have shotguns back
That's
then.
right.
9:08 left in the first half, and the Edmonton Huskies are running away with this one by a score of 34-0. Point after from Cole Sabourin. And he puts it through the uprights. Cole is getting so much work that he may have to concede to Luca Capelli in the second half. He might have a sore leg.
And guys, which one of you guys has the horn? Which one of you guys has the button to the horn? Or someone's got the horn. I don't know what's going on, but down here at field level, all the players are looking around going, okay, why are we blowing this in all the time? So
that horn, I think, is Wildcat people on the other side of the field.
I don't know what's going on. It's like we're right next to an expressway or something.
That sounded like the horn they usually use to end the quarter with.
Yeah, we used to have those, didn't we? Yeah.
All right. Well, it's turning out to be something that we hoped it wouldn't be. I mean, just from a there it is again.
Yeah, the guys in the cement in and out and in and out, in and out. So they think that's the work whistle or something. I don't know. It keeps going. It seems to be has got a mind of its own or something. I don't know.
They're looking up at the stands. I'm not sure exactly what's going on.
They're looking at you two. They're looking at you two guys, wondering what are you two up to?
Well, is Bono up there or something?
Who knows, man? I don't know.
All right, so with all those penalties and such, the ball is moved all the way up to the 50-yard line, and so again, a good spot to be kicking from, and it will likely put the Wildcats deep in their own zone, barring a big run back. Ramon English is out there on this side, and on the other side is Leighton Barasenkoff. It comes down to English. He fumbles the football on the 15-yard line and is taken down right there as he goes nowhere. And in there to help out on the tackle was number 42, Josh Delorier.
Josh Delorier was there, and Morgan Runge again, right in there. And, Morgan is such a valuable player. He plays the fullback. He has been a receiver. He can play a tight end position, which they'll play him at. So, he's a very, very valuable player and outstanding on cover units.
Well, single setback, Swedish. Hands it off right side to English, and English is taken down after a run of about maybe a couple of yards or so in the play. They tried that right side, and there was nothing happening there.
Jason Brown come right through. It's like happened on that other play. He just read it. His angle was good, made the tackle. The thing about Jason, he's not a big guy. He tackles low, and like Hodinsky does the same thing. And they're very sure tacklers.
Something like 37 tackles going into this game. There's the pass. It is completed about the 30-yard line, and a plethora of Huskies football players down on that tackle. And at the bottom of the pile was big number 3 for the Edmonton Wildcats, Tanner Holt.
It is interesting. It's first down for the Wildcats, and they've got to generate something now, or this goes from bad to worse.
Some room on the outside. Ramon English has the football, and he is taken down just shy of the 35-yard line. In there on the tackle was Brandon Mellon, but there is a flag in the...
There's a UR, I believe, on the Huskies for face masking.
Ouch.
And this will hurt because this is 15 added on to the end of the play.
You called it, JB.
Defensive lineman.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And that's going to bring it up to about the 49-yard line. And the Wildcats are within hailing distance anyway.
That's the second UR for the Huskies, and first one by Mellon, this one by 92, one of the defensive linemen.
Swedish into the middle. It is in and out of the hands of the receiver, number 81, Lucas Howe. And I'll tell you what, he catches that and keeps going towards us. He's got some room on this side.
And again, Brandon Mellon, if you watch this here, he could have lit him up.
Now there you are.
This is going to drive Coach McLean around the bed. You can see his hands on his hips. Now he's putting his headset on. He's getting frustrated. The one thing you have to maintain your discipline, even though you're up by a lot. things can shake down very quickly, as we've talked about before.
Swedish takes off with it, stops, and goes up. It is complete at the 10-yard line, and down there to make the catch was number 80, Sam Clayton.
Can't be Sam Clayton. You're talking the wrong team, Coach.
Number 80, that would be Brandon Rudnor. That's
Rudnor, a fifth-year player. He's a pretty good receiver, and he really had good concentration on that ball. Focused it all the way in because coverage was good.
All right, Rudnor with that completion, and that brings the ball to the 10-yard line. It is first and goal. Out of the shotgun, Swedish. I've seen that happen before. It's called a broken thumb. You get that thumb just wants to collapse on you when you throw it.
I don't know what it's called, but for the Huskies and for the Wildcats, it's fortunate that ball did not go back because that could have been ugly. This way it's just an incomplete pass, and they've got a chance to get a ball in the end zone. I suspect if they do not get the touchdown here, they will go 3-down football.
Back in the pocket, taking off with it. Justin Swedish, he's at the 5-yard line. Gain of 5.
He just got sniffered again. Vince again, he closed it, made the tackle, make it third down and 5. Looks like they're going field goal now. It'll be interesting. I guess with 25, that does make sense to go for the field goal. I'm wondering if there'll be a fake.
And Vince Schiffner has an incredible coach. He is really his pursuit is amazing.
Rosario Camarada with the point after. There's a bad snap, and somehow or other Camarada gets it through, but there's 1, 2, 3 flags out there.
I think procedure on the Wildcats.
Well, one of the Huskies was in the backfield too, so we'll have to wait and see what the call is going to be.
The one thing, Coach, about Schiffner is his eyes. His eyes are about the size of dinner plates. As soon as that ball is snapped, he is at the football. He's a fantastic young player.
Kevin, have you ever met him?
Not yet. Well, I assume I'll be talking to him at some point today.
I would think you should be, yeah. One of the biggest things about Vince Schiffner, those saucer eyes you talk about,
you bet.
he's like that all the time. You meet him and you'll see he's focused. He loves the game so much, and he just, from the first time he stepped on the field with the Huskies, the coaches raved about his athleticism, his speed, all the different things that go with it. Now the game slowed down for him.
Offside, Huskies, number 45.
And it certainly lessens the loss of Jason Brown as well. I mean, when you think about it, you're losing, according to the rankings, the number 2 player in the nation. But Vince Schiffner, he'll be seeing his name on that list very, very soon if he keeps this up.
So
that's very true.
So the call was holding against the Huskies. There's a handoff to Ramon English. Is he over? No, he is stopped at about the 1-yard line. That was that quick opener, JB, and it just wasn't quick enough.
It was, and the Huskies did a very good job in closing it down. That was a 3rd-down play.
Yep.
So the Huskies take over. And, I give the Huskies credit on this. That 30 front, you have to walk that up to make it like a 70 front, and then you have to pinch everything down. And they did, because it looked to me like the Wildcats got off the ball pretty good.
All right, they'll mark the ball at the 1-yard line, and the Huskies will take over from there with 5:39 to go in the half. Coming out onto the field for the Huskies now is Brendan Guy at quarterback.
I think we'll see him maybe the rest of the game, or at least for a good part of it. They might even put another quarterback in.
They've got Jordan Lane waiting in the wings, of course. He will be the backup next year to Brendan Guy. No, I'm sorry. Brendan Guy will be the backup next year to Yanchuk, and then Jordan Lane is the 3rd-string quarterback. And he has seen some action this year, and he hasn't been that bad.
Yeah, right? They're pretty well set at quarterback.
Yep.
A couple of years ago, it wasn't looking so good when they got Tommy Yanchuk last year to back up Brad Lonhart. Things were looking up, and then they've continually recruited quarterbacks well.
Talking with Brad just before the game out behind the stadium here, and he's pretty happy young man. Unfortunately a loss the other day on Friday to Regina, but he says he's enjoying life at the U of A.
That's very good for him. Brad is such a class act. And,
Big turnover, guys, for the Wildcats.
Now
that was a fumble right off the snap.
And the Wildcats come up with it. That's number 21, Jake Dalkey. With the fumble recovery.
And for Jaden Dalkey, that's a huge play. He's obviously playing in this game. He's the number 3 ranked player in the nation, and he comes up with a big turnover and a big memory for him playing in his final regular season game, guys.
And they mark the ball at the 5-yard line, Kevin, and it'll be first down for the Wildcats right from where they left off.
That's right.
Under center now is Swedish. Picks up the ball, hands it off, and tripping is Dave Adebayo, and he will be stopped for negligible gain, if any.
And that was Corbin Brown, who knifed in there from the nose guard position. Just got a piece of his ankle to take him down. Otherwise, I think he had a little bit of a hole there, Dave.
This has to be a scoring opportunity here for the Wildcats. There's the play action. Into the middle, the pass is knocked down. And who else but having a great final regular season game is O'Shane Samuels.
His coverage was excellent on that. And you watch him now, he comes across. You watch him come across down here, and there he is. He's just perfect position and right on the inside shoulder. So now the Wildcats are going for the field goal again.
All right. So we'll do this all over again, and Rosario Camarada will do the honors from about the 12-yard line. The holder down there is number 80, Brandon Rebnord. There's the left-handed kick, left-footed kick, and it is good. And the Wildcats are on the scoreboard with 3:28 to go. It's a 35-3 football game.
They are. I don't know if you noticed on that play where the kicker had to hold up.
Mm-hmm.
That was not a clean hold by the holder, and this is the difference. What Connor Mickle brings to the Huskies, he makes bad snaps clean holds, and that's why these guys are so valuable.
Well, on the other hand, too, being a left-footed kicker, and if you've got a right-handed holder, doesn't that make life a little bit more difficult?
Not if you're working with them all the time.
Yeah.
If you're not. Yes, it could, but as long as you're working with the guys all the time, it should be good.
As Brendan Guy with the pass, it is complete to Brent Berzik at the 40, and he is going to be shy of the first down. They'll mark it at about the 44-yard line. So Brendan Guy giving a little bit of a different look.
Different look, and I thought Brendan Guy did a real nice job on this. Let that set open. His check down man was Berzik, and he checked her down, and he just dumped it off, allowed the defender to come to him, then dumped it over him to the running back. You end up with a 2nd and 1.
Guy at quarterback, Brent Berzik, is the lone setback. 3 receivers to the far side. There's the handoff. It is to Berzik. He's at the 50. Tries to get around to the outside and is taken down by Jaden Dalkey, but there is going to be a flag on the play, and I believe it's going to be a face masking call against Jaden Dalkey.
I'm not, it might be. He tackled him high, which is, I don't know how you tackle Berzik any other way. But
you can't get down that low.
You can't get down that low. But it didn't look to me like he had the face down, but he might have. They're calling it on the Huskies.
All right.
Has to be a holding call.
After yards gained, holding, Huskies, number 6.
First down.
Result of the play, first down.
After yards gained.
That would be on the wide receiver on that side.
So that brings the football back to the 40. Huskies send 3 receivers to this side. Motion comes out this way. Back in the pocket now. Out on the flats, it is complete over there to number 80, Brandon Rebnord.
Wrong team, Coach.
I am Sam Clayton. I've got this 80s thing mixed up.
You too.
I never did like the 80s. You know, they had terrible music in the 80s.
The country music wasn't bad then.
Oh, okay. I'll take your word for that.
You know, it's interesting here because Clayton made a good play to get it back to the line of scrimmage. The Wildcats defended that play very well.
Back in the pocket, Brendan Guy, it is complete. And it is to number 80, who is Sam Clayton.
You got it right, attaboy. Very good ball. Nice poise by Brendan Guy, and also a real nice route by Clayton. Now, if you notice, the Wildcats in the last while have gone back to a 40 front, and now they're back into that 30 look.
3 receivers to the far side, and there's that handoff again to Brent Berzik, and Berzik finds a hole on the left side for a gain of about maybe 7 or 8 yards in the play. That looked like a bit of a read option, too.
It did, and the thing about Berzik, again, you notice he's got that quick jump step, very quick-footed, and then gets up on the vertical as quick as he can. He doesn't run lateral a lot. That previous play where they had the penalty on where he went outside, he did there because he had to get around somebody. But other than that, he gets up very fast.
All right, the double tight ends come off, and here's the play action. And a little screen pass to Brant Berzik. Berzik has some room on the outside and is taken out of bounds at about the 35-yard line. Well thought out play and well executed as well.
If you remember the play that was done this side where he dumped the ball to Berzik, it's exactly the same play going the other way. And he rolls, and they kind of allow the defense to come into him, then just dump the ball. There's nobody in the hole. And with Berzik's quickness, he's going to make first down yardage usually on those.
So Brendan Guy at quarterback. There's the handoff to Berzik. Berzik finds a hole and is over the 30 to about the 28-yard line. Brant Berzik is on a roll, and he is going to come off. And out in his place will be number 32, the big guy, Shamar Booth.
Nice run by Berzik on this. This is a little counter trap the Huskies like to run. They ran it very effectively there. And again, the linebacker overflowed a bit, and Berzik jumped right back into that hole and got big yardage.
Okay, so Shamar Booth positions himself to the left of Brendan Guy, and the handoff is to Booth. Booth finds some room and just runs over a couple of Wildcats players, and it is finally stopped just over the 25-yard line, but there is a flag on the play.
And kept from the sideline coming in our ICU video procast half. We'll be speaking with Curtis Craig, the president of Edmonton Huskies. Just a halftime visit with Curtis Craig, the president of the Huskies, coming up in just 1 minute and 18 seconds, guys.
Thanks very much, Kevin. Offside will be the call against the Huskies. And, you know, as this score continues to escalate, you have to wonder. I mean, they're taking a lot of penalties. They had those 2 URs right in a row. And now this offside. And Coach Ian McLean has got to be just.
Oh, it is, because this is on a receiver. It's discipline. It's knowing when the ball is snapped. The Huskies are in double tight.
Rolling to his right. Guy looks into the end zone. He has a man open. It is complete at the 5-yard line. And taken to the ground is number 6, Tanner Buchanan.
Very nice route by Buchanan and a wonderful pass by Brendan Guy. Again, he could have let the ball go a little earlier, but he's got a nice touch on that corner route.
You know, it's you know, the rich keep getting richer, and in the case of the Huskies at quarterback, they've got 2 great young quarterbacks.
Well, and they're both class kids.
Yep.
You know, that this is the thing. But we got to realize they're still young, and they're going to make mistakes.
All right, Guy, nice play action. Now he's being hurried, gets in it, throws it into the end zone. That is going to be an offensive interference call, and it's going to go against, again, number 6, Tanner Buchanan. He pulled his defender down.
He did, and there's no question that is the call. It's got to be the call. But there's a situation where Brennan Guy missed a short receiver that he had. I think he could have got the ball to him. When he rolled out there, he had leverage. He could have gone, but he wanted to pass the ball. He'll see this on film, and he'll see and adjust to it. It's definitely the right call, and it's something that, again, some coaches might say, good on you, because that would have been picked. Where that ball was thrown, Tony Savchuk's playing the corner today instead of safety. He had perfect leverage on the route, and he would have got the ball.
Good point. Good point. So it'll be first down and a bunch. And back in the pocket, there's the pass. It is complete to Burzak. He almost lost that one, but a good job of smelling that one out. Number 7, Chopper Hippie from Lloydminster with the tackle.
And I'll tell you, Burzak and the coach are going to be a little upset with number 63, Sandy Walker. That screen was perfectly set up. There was one man to block. 63 had him, and he didn't block him. And he made the tackle. That would have been a first down, I think.
Second and, let's say, about 30 yards to go. Ball on the 27-yard line. So it's, I guess, second and goal, really, when you look at it.
Yeah.
Guy is being hurried, and he is piled up for a loss of another 5 yards or so. And in there to make the tackle was number 92, Cole Milford, out of Holy Rosary High School in Lloydminster.
Now, I think what the Huskies have in here now on their offensive line, I think they got some younger players. And I think this is causing these situations to happen. Now, I could be wrong on that because I haven't focused on the offensive line. But when I look at the numbers out there, it looks to me like they have some young people.
Are you surprised that they've gone this early?
No.
To some of the youngsters?
You give your guys a little rest in the second half, bring out your starters for that first drive, see how it goes. And give your guys a little bit of rest.
Ball on the 35-yard line. There'll be a field goal attempt from about the 42. And there's Sabrin. He's got the length, and it is going to go wide to the right. It'll be taken there by Ramon English. He fumbles the football. It's bouncing around, and it looks like the Wildcats have come up with it.
Talk about the Wildcat bounce. They had it there because that ball really popped.
I believe it was Jaden Dalkey who came up with that.
That would not surprise me. He's been a very, very good player for a long time for the Wildcats.
Oh, my mistake, number 92. One of the big defensive linemen out there, Justin Pearson from Salisbury.
That's a Husky.
Cole Milford.
Okay.
There's a handoff taken there by number 22 for the Wildcats. Dustin Pollock, and the Austin O'Brien grad, has enough for the first down, a gain of about 12 on the play.
Safety, Justin Hodinsky, had to come over to make that tackle. Again, it looks to me like the Huskies are getting some of the younger defensive players in there.
And guys, number 22, Dustin Pollock of the Wildcats. Darcy Park would love nothing more than to develop him into a Brent Burzak back. That's what Darcy Oski had at AOB for 3 years. So Dustin Pollock, one of the for the Wildcats.
Dustin Pollock, the ball carrier once again, and we'll try and get that problem with Kevin's mic fixed as quickly as we can. Kev, you're cutting out quite a bit down there.
It's
some people might gift.
And that is the end of the first half of football. A game that we thought the Huskies would be able to win. I don't think we thought it was going to be by this much at this point in the football game.
No, and again, a lot of that is caused by the two big plays by Vince Schiffner. First of all, the stealing the ball and then running it in for a touchdown. The second one, the interception and about an 85 to 90-yard run for a touchdown. So that's all of a sudden that's 14 points, and that totally changed the way the game was going.
Yeah, and you know, I know that Darcy Park is very proud of his defense, and the defense has played extremely well in this football game. 2 of the touchdowns for the Huskies have come on special teams from Vince Schiffner, of course. But again, their defense, the Wildcats' defense is so strong that they've been really doing a good job holding down the Huskies' offense.
They have.
Yeah. Okay, let's go downstairs. Here is Ian McLean.
Well, head coach Ian McLean is with me down here on the sideline. Geez, if you put Vince Schiffner on offense, what would the score be?
He'd probably running backs on our team. He's an elite athlete. That's a 6-man guy that came to us from Edmonton Christian High School 3 years ago. So he's a guy that's developed and grown in the program. And I mean, he works his tail off in the offseason. He's an elite athlete.
Now, you're dominating on the scoreboard. You're executing at the penalties right now. I imagine right about now.
Yep, penalties need to, we'll put it this way. We tell our guys all the time, control what you can control. Referees have a much better viewpoint than we do. We have to make sure that we do our jobs, and we can't let mentals hurt us. We have to make sure that we're keeping those under control and that we're not things that are going to result in scores.
And how is getting that discipline in line before next week?
We've been preaching it all year. I think the discipline is that last defensive was where it came out. And then obviously we talked to our guys about not going back and reacting to things. Can't react to anything. If that happens in a game, they always see the second person in. So especially this game, we got to walk. We got to make sure that it's happening.
Good luck in the second half. Thanks for stopping in. Let's send things back upstairs to Dave and take a quick look at the first half. And when we return, my guest is Craig, the president of the Edmonton Huskies. Guys.
All right, thank you very much, Kevin. And I would suspect that in the second half, the discipline issue is going to be first and foremost above anything else for Ian McLean.
I think at halftime, that's what the talk will be.
Yeah.
And because things in a game, if this game gets out of hand, things can start happening on the field. You got young men who are very, very proud. And if they do start happening, then you've got to be totally disciplined to handle it.
Take a look at some of the stats from that first half. Net yards rushing for the Huskies, only 69 yards on the ground to 143 for passing. So, as I said earlier, this defense of the Edmonton Wildcats has really come up today.
They've played quite well, and they've moved from that 30 a little bit into a 40. They're playing with a lot of heart, and the score is not indicative of the way they're playing.
And as far as the visiting Wildcats are concerned offensively, 95 yards rushing, and a lot of that from David Adebayo.
A lot of it, and some of that was where the Huskies had to make a change at that defensive end position, and that changed pretty rapidly.
But where they're being hurt is in the passing department, only 75 yards passing.
That's right, and you know what? The passing game in Rick Walter's offense, and also with the Wildcats, it's very important in both games.
And speaking of the passing, only 4 completions out of a total of 11 attempts for the Wildcats. So that's something that obviously Coach Darcy Park needs to work on.
They have to, and I think you have to build your passing game over time. Rick Walters has been with the Huskies for a while. Mm-hmm. They've built that, and they've got the quarterbacks and receivers to do it.
All right, let's go downstairs, and once again, here's Kevin Donnan.
Thanks a lot. With Curtis Craig, the president of the Huskies, you must like what you see so far in the first half, but I know like head coach Ian McLean, you'd like to see those penalties kind of cleaned up.
Very much so. Irregardless of the standings, whenever these two teams get together, we always know it's going to bring out the best of both. So I'm glad we're up what we are, because there's still nervousness despite the records.
Now, you must be overjoyed. I mean, not only from your club, but for the entire football community. We've got youth players here with their jerseys on. The place is probably the best crowd we've had all season. You must be overjoyed by that.
Oh, very much so, and also compliments to the Wildcats, because it's nice when you have a partner in the city that they too pump the game. So the sizable crowd today is kudos to them as well.
Now, 2 years in a row, you guys have had amazing regular seasons, but you've stalled in the playoffs. The third time is a charm. I mean, there's 2 semifinal losses there. How do you take the next step? How do the Huskies get into that national title game? How do you finish 18?
Well, we've known for 3 weeks who our opponent's going to be. And, of course, it was Regina that beat us in a heartbreaker last year. And you're right, the regular season aside, we haven't done anything in a long time. And hopefully we'll see the success this year.
Now, looking forward, you've got a couple of exciting events. One of them, of course, is your annual banquet. And as Bob Beulah said to me, he said, well, don't talk about that too early because you're going to jinx us. But that's an exciting event coming up.
We're hoping the banquet's in late November because that'll mean it was really good news. But of course, we also had a banquet a couple of weeks ago, which was very successful with our Hall of Fame class. So lots of exciting things on the calendar, and hopefully a Canadian Bowl too. But can't look too far ahead because Regina, they have probably one of the best amateur coaches in Canada, and they're a tough from the first player to their 75th player.
So it's going to be a great one here at Clarke Stadium next week. We still don't know what time yet, but it will be a great one against Regina. And I know, you're looking straight up into the sun, but up there in our broadcast booth, Coach Belmont, and you said you had a special. You're going to head up there and see him because it'll take him a while to get down there. But you wanted to throw a shout out to Belmont.
Very much so. He's one of the most loved members of our family. He, of course, had a hip replacement surgery, and we're all glad that. In fact, I can't believe he's here at the game.
I know. Can you believe? He actually got up there, on his crutches. So I mean, he's a tough old guy.
Well, plus he's only 3.5 feet tall as well. So it's like triple the steps for you or I. So it's quite impressive.
Yeah, the hip was perfect, but the heightening procedure didn't quite work out.
I heard his crutches are too spatulas.
Well, Curtis Craig is the only guy in the PFC who could shut me up. Anyway, back upstairs to Dave and the coach, John Belmont, as the Edmonton Huskies enjoy a 35-3 advantage over the certainly been one enjoyable interview. Curtis, good luck the rest of the way, and good luck the rest of the way in 2018, and good luck in the playoffs next. Cheers, guys.
All right, I'm waiting for the comeback.
You bet.
Come on, JB. I'm waiting for the comeback. He's not going to give me a comeback, Kevin.
No, Curtis is going to.
Okay. All right, let's go back and take a look again at those statistics. And I'll tell you what, when you take a look at the total time of possession, and that's where that running game comes in so importantly. 16:23 for the Wildcats to just 13:37 for the Huskies. But yet the score is as it is.
But again, 14 points off 2 plays, big plays, both from the defense of the Huskies. And this is where statistics don't show up on the scoreboard. And the biggest thing was that if you remember those 2 big plays, the momentum changes that did in the game, and all of a sudden the Wildcats couldn't do anything and the Huskies could do anything. Then the Huskies ended up starting to get URs.
Yep.
They got a couple of offsides, some undisciplined football, and then the Wildcats were able to do some things.
I think you and I both thought that maybe the special teams might make a huge difference in this football game, and to a degree, I guess we were right because of Vince Schiffner and those 2, 1 pick and 1 steal. They really have made a difference in this football game.
Of course, those aren't special teams; that's defense.
Well, defense.
But again, I think that there is a difference. I think Cole Sabrin is doing a better job with the kicking than what the Wildcats are, but it's not converting. The defense is doing fine with it, but when the Wildcats don't kick real well and the offense gets out there, they have not converted as much as they probably should have, or this game could be really out of hand.
Talking with Darcy Park before the game, they put Matt Zeroni in there as their punter. He's been a regular punter for a number of years now, and he's been injured off and on for most of the season. Camerata has been doing most of the kicking for most of this season. But the thing is, as we mentioned at the beginning of the game, with Zeroni, he's a multi-talented player, and I suspect that he's probably going to be calling a couple of fakes here in the second half to get things going.
I think you could definitely see that now. Whether it's a call by himself, what they give him to do, because he can throw, he can run, but also your scheme can be such, or it might be up backs who are doing it.
Let's talk about these 2 quarterbacks that from the Huskies that we mentioned just briefly in the opening segment. Tommy Yanchuk is the kind of guy that he's more or less a drop back pocket type of passer. He's got the really strong arm. Brendan Guy likes to run with the ball, likes to roll out, likes to throw on the run. 2 very, very talented quarterbacks, and just great news for Ian McLean.
Well, I think 2 things with that. First of all, Tommy Yanchuk also can run very well. Yeah. So their offense, those 2 quarterbacks, and even in height, are very similar. So their total offensive package works with each of those quarterbacks. In a lot of cases, your backup quarterback might have very different skills from your starting quarterback. Therefore, your package for him has to be different. In this case, they can be identical packages.
And that sure makes life a whole lot easier for the offensive coordinator, doesn't it?
It sure does. Absolutely, it does.
All right, we're just counting down here towards the start of the second half of this football game. If you just joined us, this is Prairie Football Conference action coming to you from Clarke Park, just north of beautiful downtown Edmonton. I'm Dave Rozak along with John Belmont with me up here in the booth, and down on the field is Kevin Donnan. And we'll get this second period of the second half underway with the score 35-3 in favor of the Edmonton Huskies over the Edmonton Wildcats. We know now, without looking at the scoreboard, that it's going to probably, in all likelihood, be a home game next weekend here at Clarke Park for the Huskies against the Regina Thunder. And boy, I'll tell you what, JB, after that disappointing loss in the semifinal last year, you can bet the Huskies have got a lot to look after for this upcoming game.
Well, they do, and if you remember the first game that the Huskies played Regina here this year, they were dominated, literally dominated by Regina. Now they have to get that out of their system, and there's a lot of kids who you might think will be thinking back to last year. I don't think they will be. They're going to be thinking about early in the year. They have to be more disciplined than what they're showing today, number one. Number two, they've got to be a little more crisp with their offense and their defense and their special teams. Now, a lot of that is who you play. I will guarantee you that the Regina Thunder are going to be coached up right to the nines. They will be coming with the way they play football. And I believe that the Edmonton Huskies have every bit of the talent to counter what Regina has. Now, will they have the discipline? This is the only question I've got.
Wow. It all comes down to the discipline part. There's no doubt about that. With a couple of unfortunate URs earlier in this football game, it looked like the Wildcats or the Huskies were going to be right back to where they started from. They're coming out onto the field now. No doubt discipline will be the major part of this second half of football for the Edmonton Huskies.
I'm sure it is the major topic in the dressing room at halftime, and we'll see how it comes out and how the boys play.
All right, Kevin is just getting set to talk with the head coach of the Edmonton Wildcats, Darcy Park, and hopefully he'll be coming out in just a couple of seconds here. Looking across at Big Blue, get a shot of the stands over on the other side, on the east side. I'll tell you what. It's a pretty interesting crowd, pretty good crowd here on the west side.
Absolutely
nice
wonderful turnout. I mean, for both clubs, we have a fantastic turnout this afternoon in this Battle of Edmonton. It's fantastic to see, guys.
It is, and it's I like the all white outfits over there on the other side too.
Well, you know,
somebody must have been to Liquidator's World the other day.
You know who those guys are.
Okay.
Look at the Wildcat uniforms.
Yeah.
It's a whiteout. That's what they've called it, and that's exactly what they're doing. Those people are friends.
All right, let's go downstairs. Once again, here's Kevin Donnan.
Well, thanks a lot, David, with head coach Darcy Park of the Edmonton Wildcats. A couple of big plays, but your defense has, once again, has been sort of the heart and soul of this.
Yeah, we talked about it if we just punt the ball and don't turn the ball over, it's probably a 14-3 game the way our defense is playing. We made mistakes. It's disappointing. I feel for our guys because I know it's a tough situation to come out when really they're not playing. You're just playing for pride, and that was a little bit embarrassing in terms of we had opportunities to cover down on punts and we allow a big return. We took some penalties. We had momentum going. We drive down and shoot ourselves in the foot a couple times, and turnovers in the red zone killed us. But it's a 60-minute game, and we got an opportunity here to end our season on a positive and really send a message for what we're about.
And that's the thing, is how critical is this half to 2019? Well, not thinking about that.
I mean, we got 8 kids who are playing their last football game, maybe playing their last football game ever, and all we talked about is just, we know we made some strides, but that doesn't mean anything if we continue to have an effort like that. That's a good football team on that side. I'm not taking anything away from them. but I would really love to see us play on our toes this half.
Sounds great. Okay, good luck the rest of the way, Coach. And that is head coach Darcy Park of the Edmonton Wildcats. And he's looking for a good effort in this second half, as certainly the Wildcats have had a positive 2018, but he wants to finish high in this half.
All right, Kevin, thank you very much. You know, when you stop and think about it, you know, 5 scores, and it's a very tough, very tight football game. And with the way this defense from the Wildcats is playing, that could very well happen too. But, you know, maybe we're dreaming, but, you know, it would be nice to see the Wildcats, you know, come back, make it a tight football game. And it would be nice to see the Huskies win it and host a playoff game next weekend, because hosting a playoff game, I think, is going to do just great things for the Prairie Football Conference and for the Huskies and the Wildcats here in Edmonton.
It is. And
if they can get some media coverage, JV.
Yeah, get the coverage. The biggest thing is the playing of the game. And these young men, whether you're in white today or black and gold, I will guarantee you got a lot of pride.
All right, Camerata with the kickoff down to about the 15-yard line. It'll be taken there. Who else? West Bookland, and Bookland is piled up just over the 25-yard line. And again, well, a couple of 1, 2, 3 flags. Not sure exactly what was going on. It's going to go against the Huskies, though.
Now, this is exactly what Coach doesn't want. These are URs. That's on 83, and there's no need for that. That's Justin Miller, a wide receiver. After the play, he throws a man. So instead of being up at the 35-yard line, they're back on
about the 12, 13.
And guys, I'm wearing headphones, and I can hear Ian McLean. So, guys, he is really beside himself on a penalty that he was talking about, you know, at the half, and they start right away.
Tommy Yanchuk back in at quarterback now for the Huskies, and he's looking to the sidelines. Nice pass and picked off by Jaden Dalkey, intended down there on a good route by Adner St. Hilaire, and just a great job by Dalkey to read that one.
Well, and the big part of that is that ball was tipped. If you see it, it's on the line. He doesn't get everything into this. Now, I don't know if it was just from the hit, because he was hit just as he passed. Wonderful, wonderful defense by Dalkey. And he's been doing this his whole career with the Wildcats.
That the little down and out that Adner St. Hilaire ran, and well covered by Dalkey. So Justin Swedish still at quarterback. Looking downfield, he has a man open at the 10. He goes up for it, and it is complete at the 5-yard line. Way down there at the far end of the field, it is Lucas Howe.
And beat on that was Philip Shaden, the defensive back. And the receiver's wide open. Good ball.
Guys, an update from the out-of-town scoreboard. The score from Calgary. The Regina Thunder definitely have got the offense warmed up for next week. They lead at McMahon Stadium 46-0, guys.
Ouch. And there's a handoff to Adebayo. It is a fake, and going in over the goal line and being hammered is Justin Swedish, and Swedish comes up with 6 points. And boy, I'll tell you what, I don't know whether that was a mix-up or whether it was just a read or a zone read or whatever, but
I believe it was a zone read. I'll tell you one thing, Swedish got drilled by O'Shane Samuel. And when Samuel hits you, you know it. So we'll see how Swedish comes out. He's a tough kid. I think he'll be fine.
Camerata with the point after. And with 13:34 to go in the third quarter, it's a 35-10 football game.
Now, interestingly enough, in my opinion, that touchdown by the Wildcats was caused by the Huskies UR. And after they just talked about it, you knew they talked about it at halftime. They get that on the first play, then what happens? They blow a coverage. So all of a sudden the minds aren't where they should be. And this is the type of thing the Huskies got to get back in their system, and they got to start driving. And I'm not saying that they're going to lose this game by any means. What I am saying, if this attitude persists, next week will be their last game.
All right. Camerata will be putting the ball down.
Oh, how do you follow that? Wow. That's a hot sports opinion from the coach. He's back in midseason form. You've had some time to think about this, Coach.
45-yard line. There's the kickoff, and it'll come down to about the 20, taken there by West Bookland to the 25, 30, has some room to the 40, and is stopped in his tracks on a nice tackle by number 34, Hunter Lawson, out of Wainwright, one of the 3 Lawson brothers playing on this Wildcats team.
It's an update on the down scoreboard. The Saskatoon Hilltops lead the Winnipeg Rifles 27-0 as they enter the second half. So that semifinal preview, the Hilltops are well out in front, 27-0 as they begin the second half. Guys?
I would think the Hilltops would want to bury them pretty good in preparation for next weekend's semifinal game. There's the handoff. It is to Berzik. Berzik around the 40 to the 45 and out of bounds at about the 46, 47 yard line. And again, Jaden Dalkey coming up to make the tackle.
And again on that play, nice little inside-outside move by Berzik, and he gets the corner and is able to get up and get good plus yardage.
And it looks like the Huskies are going to go with that double tight end formation out there again. Number 30 is Morgan Runge, and number 37 is Nicholas Ray.
They've had to put in another left guard. Jack Hanna is out. Got injured on that play.
Tough way to go for the final game of the regular season for Jack Hanna. And there is Brant Berzik once again. And we had a little skirmish going on with Jaden Dalkey. Dalkey is playing at a heightened level in this game. I mean, he's hitting really, really hard, and he just loves this rivalry. This is a big thing for him.
And you know, for all these guys are fifth-year guys, the Husky Wildcat rivalry is the games of the year. And even with playoffs, the intensity is unbelievable in these games. Now, on that last play, wonderfully blocked by the Huskies, by their receivers and their linemen.
Yanchuk at quarterback. Play action into the middle. The pass is picked off by Dalkey again. Dalkey gets around one tackler. He's got some room on the outside. He's at the 50. Midfield still going. He's got all kinds of blockers with him. He's got one man to beat. He's at the 15, the 10, and still going down to the 5-yard line. Jaden Dalkey.
Now, on that play, I don't know what happened because Harrison Cable looked to be the receiver, but if you look at it, he's nowhere near him. And again, the pressure, I think, got the Yanchuk. He threw off his back foot, and Dalkey was right in position, makes a wonderful play. Now, I do believe that there's a penalty on this, could be against the Wildcats.
Illegal block.
I would suspect. Which will take it 10 yards back from the location of the block.
And guys, the crowd on the east side in the white coveralls, that is part of Dalkey's entourage, part of the show up early for the games in the Dalkey Mobile, the RV parked out in the parking lot. So
they came up from Leduc.
You bet. Yeah, all the way up on the highway from Leduc, Coach.
They started the Tim Hortons and worked their way up.
You got it.
There you go.
Ball on the 15-yard line. I'll make that the 31-yard line. 15-yard penalty against the Wildcats. Taking off with it, calling his own number is Justin Swedish. Swedish to the 18-yard line. And it will be enough to move the sticks.
A very good play on that by English. He read it. I think that was quarterback draw all the way. Did a very good job.
Swedish handing it off to Adebayo. Adebayo has some room on the outside, runs into a couple of tacklers, and then promptly runs over them to about the 10-yard line. See where they mark it? Right at the 10. So he needed to get to about the 8. So it'll be 2nd and 2.
Again, the Huskies not tackling clean. The cleanest tackle on that play, I believe, was from Schiffner. He delivered a pretty good blow in there.
Wildcats will send 3 receivers out to the far side, 2 on this side. Handoff again, Adebayo. Adebayo this time will go nowhere. He is held up at the line of scrimmage And as I say, he needed to get to the 8. It'll depend on where they mark the ball. It's going to be close.
Again, good pressure inside from Schellenberg. Schiffner on the outside. They walked him up on that, and he took care, forced him to turn inside, and Schellenberg was able to bring him down.
Justin Pearson in on the tackle as well.
Yeah, and those are pretty good defensive linemen they have in there.
We've got 4 receivers to the left, and now the motion goes right. And plowing over for the first down is Justin Swedish. So, hey.
That was a good low drive by English. When you stay low like that, it's very difficult to tackle you. And he's a pretty tall young man, so he was able to get in there pretty well.
So Justin Swedish gets the first down. And there's the handoff, a little misdirection play, and Adebayo is stacked up after a gain of about 1 on the play.
On that play, they faked the fly coming across and then come inside, but the Huskies were penetrating on that play, so they stuffed it back in the backfield.
And down on one knee and appearing to be injured is number 45, Justin Pearson. Looks like he may have just been wounded or winded.
And of course, guys, Kevin here from down on the sideline. This is a real celebration. Obviously, there's an intense rivalry on the field, but there's a great deal of pride for the family and friends of all of the graduating players, both on the Wildcats and Huskies. And of course, I know both of you guys, we've both got lists, and we'll be chatting about some of these players. But this is definitely, it's a big day in terms of the rivalry between the Wildcats and Huskies, but it's an extremely proud and celebratory day for the players, coaches, and the families of these graduating players. And ICU Video wants to congratulate all the graduates here today at Clarke Stadium, guys.
Second and goal for the Wildcats. Looking into the end zone is Swedish. Now he takes off with it, and he will get down to about the 5-yard line, but not much further. And it'll be third down. Now, you're the Edmonton Wildcats. What do you do? Kick the field goal or go for it?
You got to go for the touchdown, I believe. I don't think the field goal does you any good here. And if you do, your defense is playing really well. If you don't get it, you've got the Huskies pinned deep.
All right, the lone setback is number 22, Dustin Pollock. Back in the pocket now, looking into the end zone. He's got a man open, and he overthrows him wide open to number 80 once again, and that is Brandon Rebnord. And you have to wonder.
If you look at the left side of the line here, he's got all day, he rolls out a little bit. It's totally sealed. He could have run that in.
He did. Yeah, he
now,
could have. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What he did, he had this man so wide open, he aimed the ball instead of just throwing.
Yeah.
He just throws the ball, he's got a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of quarterbacks never get out of that thing of aiming, throwing the perfect ball.
Well, that's what Darcy was talking about, shooting yourself in the foot, and that's
exactly
pretty much
right.
what happened on that play.
Exactly right.
So the ball is on the 5-yard line. The Huskies starting deep in their own zone. Tommy Yanchuk at quarterback. There's the play action. The pass is complete on this side to Sam Clayton. Clayton dekes around one tackler and is finally taken down by Chopper Hippie, but there is a flag on the
There will be a holding call, I believe, on the Huskies. And I'm not sure if I see this play right. I did not think it was holding.
There it is right there.
That didn't look like a hold to me.
I think the flag might have been a little bit late coming out too.
Well, and the interesting thing to me on these plays is that if you look where that official was, he could see where the hands of the blocker were. So sometimes officials, like players, coaches will do, they're on Buchanan. But again, I'm not sure that was a hold. They'll see it more on the game film, but it didn't look like it here.
So halfway to the goal line, the ball is on the 2. Brant Burzak is the lone setback. The motion goes to the right. There's the handoff, the fake, and Yanchuk takes it himself and goes up to about the 5-yard line. And he is slow to get up.
Slow, but he's got room to work with now. And if you get outside that around the 5-yard line.
He's taking a knee and then going to ground. So Tommy Yanchuk, I'm not sure if he's holding his right arm or right wrist, but it appears to be something on his right side.
And every Husky fan just stopped breathing on this west side, guys.
Yeah, just get Brandon Guy ready to go.
That's
right. Next man up.
That's what you have to do. You know, you can look at. They talked about it 2 years ago with Lonhart. He really had no backups. Well, he didn't get hurt. Well, maybe that's the reason he didn't get hurt. He didn't have a backup. I don't know, but I can tell you this, that any time that a player goes down, it's tough. But they've always got somebody to put in for them.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the backup will surprise you with how good he will perform. And I think this is going to be the thing here. I think the Huskies could be pleasantly surprised with what Brandon Guy does.
And as Bill Parcells said, it's a replacement business. Right, Coach?
And that goes for players, coaches,
You bet.
everybody.
You better believe it.
That's the nature of the game.
And Guy is certainly no stranger to big games. I mean,
no.
You know, he was with the Bears for a year, and certainly, you know, he's a big fella. He's got great speed to the outside. He's got great football smarts, and as you say, he's almost identical. He's almost a doppelganger to Tommy Yanchuk.
Very much so, and it's so that they won't change anything in their offensive scheme here.
Back in the pocket. Looking downfield, the pass completed the 15-yard line. Taken there by Connor Mickle, and Mickle fights his way all the way up to about the 20-yard line, and it'll be enough for the first down.
That was Harrison Cable on that.
Number 5, not number 2.
Number 5, yeah. It looks a little like 2 at that distance.
You think I'd notice that, though, with the hair.
Well, the hair and the size.
All right, there's the handoff right side again, and this is Brant Berzik. Berzik will make it up about 3 or 4 yards on the play.
He got maybe 2, but he gained about 5 yards. He was hitting the backfield. And this is all Berzik. Every bit of that yardage was Brant Berzik. Just tremendous run by him. Never stops his feet moving.
Huskies will send 4 receivers to this side. 1 to the boundary. And back in the pocket. It's out in the flats. It is complete at the 25-yard line. And with room to run is number 6, Tanner Buchanan. And Buchanan takes off for a big gain of close to about 22 yards on the play.
Guys, Kevin, sorry to jump in, guys. Got a bit of a breaking update here. The Huskies right now are taking a look at the non-throwing shoulder of Tommy Yanchuk. He is in considerable pain, and it is his non-throwing the left shoulder. So he is in considerable pain here on the Husky bench, guys.
Thanks, Kevin. Brant Berzik along the sidelines. He's staying in bounds and is finally knocked out at about the 42, 43-yard line. Just a great job.
Everybody's cheering Berzik here, but watch Clayton on the block right here.
Boom.
Watch him block.
Yeah.
And if it's not for him, he doesn't even get a first down. Now, tremendous in that he kept his balance when that DB come to hit him. That's Tony Savchuk, who's a pretty good ball player. But just a great job by the receiver blocking on that play.
Again, the other side this time for Berzik, and Berzik will be stopped after a gain of about a yard or 2. In on the tackle was number 57, Roni Bakahi from Ross Shep High School.
Now, 2 plays before that, when they threw that little hitch to Buchanan, he made that good run. That was the identical play that he made a wrong cut before. This time, the defenders overflowed, and he cut back inside and then really made it work. Well executed.
Out of the shotgun, Brendan Guy to the sidelines. It is complete. Tanner Buchanan, the Paul Kane grad, with his 5th reception of the afternoon.
Now, if you see this, watch him cut. He makes his break. The ball's already in the air. There's the ball right there. Excellent timing by both Brendan Guy and Buchanan, understanding the depth, understanding the timing of the pass.
Handoff. Up the middle, Shamar Booth. And Booth runs into one of the big defensive lineman for the Huskies, for the Huskies rather, number 56, Jack Hanna. So good to see that Hanna is back out there.
It is so, and there's the other thing with this now. If you notice, Booth brings a little different look in there. It's just straight power. There's no quick feet with him.
All right, play action rolling to his right is Brendan Guy. He's got a man open on the far side. It is complete to number 87, Chris Edmond out of Queen Elizabeth.
Watch this play. Now watch as he comes out on the boot. Watch where his eyes go. You see how his eyes stayed on the back for a bit? That allowed that defensive end. He just kept coming inside, made an easy block for him, set the whole play up. Well-executed bootleg by both Guy and by Edmonds.
That moves the ball down to about the 12-yard line. There's a pass. It is incomplete and intended down there. Let's see if we can get a number for you. Well, it's Harrison Cable. Don't have to get the number. Just got to look at the hair again.
That's the thing. And the thing about Cable is that he's a big, tall guy. And the thing that Brendan Guy did that, he really zipped that ball. But he threw it a little high. He didn't have to. He had perfect position to make that pass.
Double tight ends coming out. The dynamic duo, as they are sometimes called, Morgan Runge and Nicholas Ray. There's the play action and the pass into the end zone. It is complete, wide open, touchdown.
You know, it's interesting. I don't know if it'll show on the replay. Buchanan runs around, and on his break, he slips. And just at that time, he's letting the ball go. Now watch. You watch him slip here. He gets in. See him slip. He just right there, or just at the back, he slipped. The defensive back stopped for a second. It was it. The ball was laid out perfectly, and the nice thing about it was, from Brendan Guy's point of view, he put air under the ball. He softened the ball, didn't try to zip it, enabled the play to be made.
Cole Sabourin puts it through. And boy, what a game Cole Sabourin is having.
He is having a game. Pretty good for his final game as a Husky in a season, and especially the Wildcat series, because that's there's such a tremendous amount of pride in these guys. They love to play in this game. And that goes, if you look who else is having a great game for the Wildcats, is Dalkey. And I know the Huskies would have loved to have had him. He's a Leduc player, exactly the same as Harrison Cable is for the Huskies. And they both come from the same town, same school, and guess what? They end up playing different teams.
Talking with the kicker before the game, Cole Sabourin, he would kind of like to stay in football if he can, and maybe go to maybe one of the BC universities, UBC or perhaps Manitoba, and continue his football career. But he's also got a career back here at home with a metal construction fabrication firm down in Nisku, and so he's kind of torn in between, as we said last week. Life sometimes interferes with football.
That's very true, and with a lot of these young men, they're not, a lot of them are not students per se, that the university is the thing for them. And yet, to go on in football here, university, you either go pro out of here or you go university. It's one of the two. So, if he wants to continue to play, then look for something at a university that will help him out. Maybe it's a business, whatever. But if that's not in the cards and you want to make money, then go to work. He's had a very, very good junior career.
And, of course, you got to think about family, too.
Absolutely you do.
There's the handoff on the left side, Adebayo. And the Harry Ainley grad is stopped after a run of a couple of yards or so, maybe one.
Well, there are a few guys in there on that play, including number 33.
He's everywhere. He's everywhere.
Yeah. Colton Densmore was back in it. He's played well since he's come back off that injury in the first quarter. So it looks like he's got that all straightened out.
Swedish throwing long, and it is going to be incomplete and intended all the way down there for number 3, Tanner Holt. The Bev Facey grad was being well guarded by a couple of Husky players. I think O'Shane Samuels was in on that along with Alex Fox.
On that play, Brandon Mellon just cost Justin Hodinsky an interception. Justin Hodinsky was a perfect place to make the position, the catch, and Mellon came right through the both of them. And at that time, now Mellon didn't know he's playing through the guy the way he should. But I don't know if you noticed, but Hodinsky helped him up. I would have been very interested to see what he said to Mellon at that time.
So Wes Bookland has the ball bounce past him, and he pounces on it at about the 25-yard line. It'll be no yards, the 5-yard variety. So ball comes up to the 30, and it'll be first down for the Huskies with 2:39 to go here in the third quarter, 42-10. If you just joined us, in favor of the Edmonton Huskies over the Edmonton Wildcats, it's the Battle of Edmonton. Here's the handoff, a little misdirection and counterplay to Shamar Booth, and Booth runs it up to about the 40-yard line. He should have enough for the first down, depending on where they mark it. But that
see in the replay, they pull a tackle here.
Yeah.
And he comes out. That's that little counter trap they like to run. A nice, well-executed play, and Booth followed the trap blocking perfectly. He followed. If you notice, Morgan Runge was the tight end. He was blocking down, came right up off of him. That's how you have to play that play. Very well executed.
It is enough for the first down, and again, Booth will get the football. And Booth is piled up after a gain of a yard or two on the play. At the bottom of that pile was number 57, Roni Bakahi from Austin O'Brien High School. Should say congratulations to the Harry Ainley Titans at this point. They are ranked number 1 in the province in Tier 1. The new rankings just came out today, and certainly the coaching staff has to be pretty proud of that designation. There's a pass. It is knocked down, and a nice job in there by who else but the veteran Tony Savchuk, all decked out in white and pink.
Well, the thing with Tony is now he's playing corner, and he played that play very well. But this is the thing with Brendan Guy, and maybe even on the scheme. Receiver coach Sam Schwab might want to work with the receiver a little on this. It looked to me like he was running out of room a little bit. And you have to, if you're going to run that corner route, they're playing a lot of zone. You got to post it more. Spend more time, draw in, then come out. It allows your quarterback a little more time.
Luca Capelli with the squib, and it might have gone 11 yards.
And guys, getting back to the Harry Ainley Titans, you know, they are the number 1 ranked team in the province. If not, they have yet to give up a down on defense this season. So the Titans are the team to beat in the province once again, guys.
It's going to be interesting. Of course, there's a couple of Calgary teams right behind them too, Kevin. St. Francis Brown and Notre Dame Pride, always up there in the standings. Back in the pocket. This is Justin Swedish. He's got a long one all the way down to the sidelines. Is it complete? Yes, it is. And taken down there over the shoulder, and that's a tough catch to make, but Jacob Mihailidis with the catch.
It's a good catch, but on the coverage here, the defender was in fairly good position, but he didn't go to make a play on it. You got to get up in the air. You know you got sideline help there. He knew where he was. The sideline is right there. If the ball goes outside, if it fades, it's going out of bounds. He's got a chance to make a play.
Pass is picked off at the 2-yard line. And coming back with it is Justin Hodinsky. And Hodinsky is run out of bounds just over the 20-yard line, about the 22 or 23. And again, it's just that.
I watched the play here.
Yep.
It's tipped.
Oh.
Now, I don't know if you're going to see it here. But the ball was tipped, and I think that was Mellon got the tip on it. But maybe that's payback for the one that Hodinsky should have intercepted before when Mellon hit him.
Absolutely.
But, anyway, this play worked out quite well, and again, from the play before, we were talking about utilization of sideline. You can turn back into the play the way the defender played on that, but you have to trust yourself. Go up for the ball. Go up and make a play. Delay a game on the Huskies here, Dave. This is not good.
All right, down to the last 5 seconds of the third quarter. Maybe they just don't like this end of the field.
They're calling delay, but I didn't see that 20-second clock go down or move. So
it didn't move at all, guys.
Yeah, I know.
They didn't start it. When the play was blown in, someone forgot the switch.
Yeah, and so the Huskies are wasting a timeout on this because of that. The Husky coaches saw that, and because the back judge definitely called delay a game signal.
And Brendan Guy is coming off, talking over with the offensive coordinator.
And of course, that's because October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
I'm really impressed with the way Guy has played in this second half. He's come out very strong.
Well, as you talked about earlier, he's a poised young man. He's played at a high level in high school, played at university last year, and I don't know how much playing time he got really, but to me, he was one of the classiest quarterbacks that I saw in his high school years. And I think he's the type of guy that fits right in with Rick Walder's type of offense, and as does Tommy Yanchuk. So the two of them together, I think, can do some very good things.
All right, flanked out to this side is Chris Edmond, the lone receiver. There's the handoff. Shamar Booth hesitates, finds a hole, and carries the ball up over the 30-yard line to about the 32 or 33. That was a good piece of running by Booth.
Well, it was, but if you notice at that point, Tony Savchuk is down on the sheet at 5'10". After that hit by Booth, I think he's 5'8", because he got drilled. And, Tony's tough. He doesn't care how big the guy is. He's going to get out and hit him. Yeah, he did on that play, but he paid for it.
And at the end of the third quarter of football, it is the Edmonton Huskies leading the Edmonton Wildcats by a score of 42-10. And of course, the many sponsors of the Edmonton Huskies, we'd like to take this opportunity to thank them. The Edmonton Eskimos, of course, the Glenn Sather Sports Medicine Clinic, the Edmonton Hertz Equipment Rental, and the Eskimo Excavators Limited as well. And let's go downstairs, and here's Kevin.
Well, thanks so much, Dave. And ICU Video would like to thank both the Edmonton Huskies and Edmonton Wildcats, their players, coaches, and staff for all of their assistance throughout the 2018 regular season. As we enter the fourth quarter of the Battle of Edmonton, we're also entering the fourth quarter of our Procast coverage here in the 2018 regular season. Of course, coming up next week, we will have the PFC semifinal between the Edmonton Huskies and the Regina Thunder. The time is still to be determined, but it is definitely next Sunday here at Clarke Stadium. And once again, check with the Edmonton Huskies on all of their platforms, be it on internet, Twitter, or on Facebook. Check for that game time, and hopefully we'll get an announcement very shortly. But so it will be next Sunday, the PFC semifinal, right here on the ICU Video broadcast here of the Prairie Football Conference. So guys, next Sunday the playoffs begin and the games get real all of a sudden, guys.
You can bet on that, Kevin. Thank you very much. And I want to add my personal thanks to that, Kevin, to the coaching staff, especially of both the Huskies and the Wildcats. I mean, we all know, coaches don't like to see the media guys going into their practice and asking questions and, just being a general nuisance. But no, they've been really good to me, and I really appreciate it.
And a tip of the cap, guys, to Megan Tanner of the Wildcats, the outgoing general manager of the Wildcats. She's done such a fabulous job over the years. She'll still be connected with the club in some way, but a real tip of the cap to Megan Tanner of the Wildcats, who this is her final regular season game for the Cats.
Absolutely, Kevin. Thank you. All right, there's the snap out of the shotgun, the handoff to Shamar Booth once again, and Booth fumbles the football. It's recovered by Savchuk, and it'll be another big break for the Wildcats. And, well let's see exactly what's going to happen. They haven't signaled a turnover. Yes, they have.
I don't think that was Booth in there. I think that might have been Ray Nick.
Number 37.
Could have been,
Nicholas
or
Ray.
it might have been Morgan Rudge. It just didn't look like Booth running, that's all.
Nicholas Ray, I believe, was the ball carrier, and you're right,
Yeah,
it wasn't
could have
Shamar
been.
Booth. And that's took for 37 for 32. There's the high pass down in the end zone, and all kinds of bumping and grinding and stuff going on, but no flag.
Now, I don't know if you see that. You see it on the replay. But Brendan Mellon comes across the middle. I don't know if he's playing, I don't think he's playing safety, but you watch, that ball's up, and you watch, he comes off his half. Now look at him here. He's going to come right through this guy. Boom, right there. So you want to catch
Before
that
the ball got there.
Well, no, I think the ball was there because there was no flag. And you know officials never make mistakes. So, but that's Mellon. That's how he plays. He says, you're going to catch that ball. You're coming through me to make that catch.
Ball is incomplete. Intended down there for Leighton Barasenkov, and Barasenkov couldn't handle it. It actually went through the hands of another receiver in the same area, number 80, Brandon Rebnord.
I think it was kind of meant for Retnord, and it just overthrew it a little bit.
Yeah.
The other receiver just almost made a heck of a catch on it.
All right, it'll be third and a bunch. It's field goal time, and boy, I'll tell you what, Rosario Camarata is out there, and this is a real test for the young rookie. He's got a 44-yard field goal attempt. He's got it up, but it's going to be well short. Bounces down at the 5-yard line. It'll be taken there by Connor Mickle. He's up to the 5, tries to run the outside, then turns around and is taken down at about the 7-yard line. Just a little too much for Rosario Camarata. I don't think he got good leather on that one either.
No, you see how fast the ball was spinning?
Yeah.
Means he got under it too much.
Oh, okay.
When it's that lazy end over end, it means he hit it right. And he just got under it. With young kickers, that sweet spot, it doesn't take much to miss it.
What is the sweet spot? What, you being a special teams.
I wouldn't believe it's a 16th of an inch. If that. It is a small area, and it's just underneath the center of the ball.
Not a lot of difference between a kicker and a drive in golf. You either hit it pure or you.
Or it's bye-bye.
I wouldn't know. I've never done that. Hitting it pure.
There's the play action, and taking it up himself is Guy, and.
Guys, we have an injury update from the Huskies sideline. Tommy Yanchuk is done for the afternoon. He's got the ball cap on. Still walking around very gingerly. That left shoulder, obviously an area of concern for the Huskies. So Yanchuk has been shut down for this game, but definitely some concern on the training staff, guys.
Well, let's hope that everything comes out the best for that playoff game next week, Kevin. There's no doubt about that. Back in the pocket now. This is Brendan Guy. His pass is incomplete out of the hands of number 84, Jemani Watkus, who is out there for the first time, wide receiver out of M.E. Lazert in his rookie year.
Now, I don't know if this is pass interference or defensive holding. It looks like pass interference on the Wildcats. 2 flags out, and we'll see what the call is. They're talking to the Huskies, so I imagine it's interference from where the flag was thrown.
They're marching it off 10 yards.
Illegal contacts.
Yeah, so, as opposed to interference, which is 15.
And this is a 10-yard penalty, and it's a first down either way with him.
Yep.
I see Sabchuk is back at safety now.
All right, it's 1st and 10. Ball on the 20. There's Guy. He puts it up, and it is incomplete. It looked like the receiver down there may have just lost his footing. That was Adner St. Hilaire.
Well, I don't know. Again, that's a corner route. Now, the defender had very good position on that corner route. And I don't know if the receiver is getting the defender's hips turned well enough. If it's man coverage, if it's zone, you just got to sell that post to get the corner to jump down. Well, I'm sure the Husky receiver coaches will take a look at it and get it straightened out.
3 receivers, 4 receivers to the far side. And calling his own number is Brendan Guy. Guy gets around one tackler and then is taken down just over the 30-yard line. In on the tackle for the Wildcats was Cole Milford out of Holy Rosary.
That was a real nice job by Brandon Guy. If you look here, he looks like he's going to head outside for a bit, and then he breaks it upfield to get the first down. He knew the yardage he had to get, and he got it.
There's the handoff. Shamar Booth. And he is knocked back. And in there to make the tackle again, number 92, Cole Milford. And it looks like we're going to have another UR coming up here pretty quick. Some untimely language going on.
They're talking to the Wildcats, so this is against the Huskies. And again, what we talked about, this lack of discipline, it puts you in one heck of a spot in a game of the type of game they'll be playing next week.
Yeah, don't expect any kind of a 42-10
No.
lead in the fourth quarter next week, I can tell you that.
Looks like they're calling procedure here.
Procedure. Husky, no end. The penalty C5 is open to play second down.
Okay, so that's understandable. What happened then, again, was a tight end situation, possibly a wide receiver played a flanker position instead of stepping up on the line.
All righty, it'll be second, and we'll call it 11. Ball on the 30. Out of the shotgun, into the middle. The pass is incomplete. It was intended for Jake Strakowicz, who is playing at wide receiver for the first time in this football game, and he just couldn't get to it. I think it was kind of thrown in behind him.
It was thrown very low, too. It almost looked to me like Brendan Guy was concerned about the defender, that he could get a pick on it, so he put it where only the receiver could get it. He would have had to dive for the ball.
11:20 to go in the fourth quarter. 42-10 in favor of the Huskies. Low snap picked up, and shank into the Huskies bench. And it will be at about the 47-yard line, 48-yard line. So good field position here.
Now that's two straight shanks for Luca Capella, who's come in to punt for Cole Sabrin. And this is going to work on him because he hasn't done a lot of kicking. And, you know, you got to get that positives coming. And what's happening usually on those, he's dropping the ball to the outside of the foot. And he's either that or he's swinging his leg a little inside. Usually it's the drop.
There's the handoff on the sweep taken there by number 81 for the Wildcats. That is Lucas Howe, and Howe runs up just shy of the first down flag, about maybe 9 yards on the play.
Now watch the play here. This is well run. He's really moving. But watch the tackle by safety Justin Hodinsky. Good and low, which he does all the time. Sure tackle, no more yardage. Now, if your safety's your leading tackler, you're in trouble. But that was a wonderful tackle by him and a well-executed play by the Wildcats.
2nd and 1 out of the shotgun. There is Adebayo once again, and Adebayo makes his way into the secondary and is taken down by number 34 for the Huskies, Matthew Lauren.
Guys, Kevin from the sideline. One more out-of-town scoreboard update, well, from Calgary anyway, because it keeps getting more, the score gets painful or more as we go along here. But the Regina Thunder have definitely, they're ready on offense. They lead the Calgary Colts late fourth quarter at McMahon Stadium 62-0. So the Regina Thunder certainly have the offense ready to go for next weekend, and will definitely been a long season down in Calgary, but that Colts organization, hopefully they can get things turned around. But yeah, 62-0, and we'll get an update on the Rifles score as well between the Hilltops, guys. So a big score down in Calgary.
Okay, Kevin,
and
thanks.
a long season for the Colts.
It's now almost officially over for them. And
oh boy,
Tim Kersey, the head coach.
That's mercy.
Yeah, he's got to really. He has his work cut out for him for next season. There's no doubt about it. But you know, as he says, it's a 5, maybe 6, maybe 7 year building period for this team, and you know, he just has to be patient. I think I see a white flag somewhere down south, just behind those buildings. Can you see it?
And the talent is there, guys. I mean, certainly in southern Alberta. No shortage of football talent, but a long way back for the Colts.
Absolutely.
The football talent in Calgary is leaving there. And I'm very serious about this.
Pass incomplete. Actually, it banked off the back of one of the defenders down there, number 26 for the Huskies, and that is Dagbarani Wandi. I think he's going to get called for interference.
It shouldn't be. On this, the way the rule is today, he doesn't reach his hand up. He never reaches his hand up. He just maintains position. That is not screening. If he puts his hand up, that's screening.
Got more out-of-town scoreboard update. The Saskatoon Hilltops lead the Winnipeg Rifles 48-0. So, guys, the PFC semifinal next weekend, the Hilltops look like they're ready to go. So two big scores, guys.
It's a bad call.
Dagbarani Wandi being called for the interference. And so it's first down for the Wildcats. Swedish takes off with it, and he is taken down from behind and is stopped just over the 15-yard line.
Did you see who made that tackle? It was a high tackle, but a wonderful tackle by Vince Schiffner. And I don't think English is going to want to see that number 33
That's Swedish,
anymore.
Swedish, not English.
Oh, that's right, too. He isn't going to want to see any more of that guy. You know, it's a difficult situation.
There's a handoff to Adebayo, and Adebayo is upended on a nice tackle by Brandon Mellon. Wow.
Again, Brandon Mellon doesn't care how big you are, he's going to hit you.
Yep.
And here it comes up, and you so watch how low he gets. He just, boom, goes right through him.
Mellon is having a great game, his final regular season game as an Edmonton Husky here in the Prairie Football Conference. And Swedish will carry it ahead, and he gets the first down.
You know, I don't know if there's a good thing to say, but Brandon is going out with that intensity that he came in with, but he's also going out with a UR in this game like he came in with his first game. Brandon, I love the guy. He got a tremendous heart for the game, tough as nails.
Here's the fake, and into the end zone for the touchdown. Beautifully orchestrated and completed nicely by Justin Swedish.
Now, Justin Swedish on that play ran the zone read as well as you can run it.
That's right.
He just read at the last second he pulled, and whoever was supposed to be out there, he might have finally got Schiffner on one, you know.
Well, I tell you, and you got to give credit to the offensive line. They sealed off that side very nicely.
They did a nice job. It's a well-deserved touchdown.
And so with 8:28 to go, the point after is good, and it is now 42-17 in favor of the Edmonton Wildcats, or the Edmonton Huskies. And ironically, that's just about the same as the score the last time these two teams met at this point in the game.
Yeah, and the irony of it is also that the Huskies, and again, this is my opinion, they are not playing to the level of intensity that they need to play with next week. Now, part of that might be because of the situation in the game. Usually Husky Wildcat games are so intense that it doesn't matter from the opening kickoff through the final play of the game, the intensity never ebbs. But it seems to me with the Huskies, it's ebbed a little here. Now they are playing a lot of backups at this time, and that could be a part of it.
Now, we don't know the situation down in Calgary, obviously, but I'll tell you what, if the intensity level has dropped off for the Regina Thunder, then holy, that's worrisome.
Well,
it's 62 to nothing or something.
The Colts, they are in trouble. They've got to get their organization straightened out. And the head coach there has got a lot more to deal with than just recruiting players. And, he's got to get a coaching staff together that he likes and deals with.
All right, on the kickoff and up to the 40-yard line, still going forward with it is Wesley Bookland. He fumbles the football, and it is Wildcats football on about the 50-yard line as Wesley Bookland fumbles.
Okay, now here's a situation where Bookland made some good moves. He set a block up extremely well. Watch him set the block here, right there. He set that block for Schiffner to come out and then get the angle. And Schiffner ran by the guy. But now he comes here, and he's in good position. But he loosens the ball and lost it. I think he hit that off his own knee.
Could very well be. And coming in on the right-hand side, off the edge, was number 34, Matthew Lauren from St. Joe's in Grand Prairie, and that's his second.
One of these young linebackers that is playing their younger guys. And a very good play by him.
Boy, did he ever show some speed coming off that side.
He did so.
And a huge loss, well, not a huge loss, but 6 yards on the play. It'll be 2nd and 16, back in the pocket now. And firing into the middle, the pass is incomplete. Hodinsky was sitting there just waiting for it, and it just dropped out of his hands.
Now, Justin made a fatal mistake on that. If he played center field in baseball, he wouldn't make that mistake. A low ball like that, you have to come up on it. You have to move up. You can't sit and wait on it. And he did that and dropped the ball, or he would have had his second. Perfect position.
All right. Zeroni now to kick this one away. He gets an end-over-end driving kick over the head of Connor Mickle down to the 20-yard line. He picks it up and circles around and is taken down at the 25-yard line. A run back of about 5 yards. The Wildcats say they recovered the fumble, but the official has blown the play dead, so no fumble.
If you watch here, there's Mickle gets it. Now watch the block by Buchanan. Tremendous block by him to set to allow Mickle to get free. The more I see of this young Buchanan fella, he's a very good football player.
And he will be for a number of years to come for this team.
Yes, he will.
He's he's a third-year graduate from Spruce Grove, but he's still got a couple of pretty good years ahead of him. Back in the pocket now and running to the right is Jordan Lane. Lane's pass is complete to number 38. And we were wondering who that was, and that is Ben Van Leeuwen out of Belrose High School, and of course a graduate of Chad Hill's football program there. And Chad was so proud of Ben last week.
Well, you know, Ben is a very good football player. He's a very good high school football player, and because he comes out of a Chad Hill coach program, he's the type of player that the Edmonton Huskies like, because they know he's well coached. Now there was a very, very good defensive play by the Edmonton Wildcats.
Noah Perkins, he smelled that one out.
Well, he smelled it out partly because the quarterback was slow on the release. Got to get that ball up, get it out very quickly. It's like a little slip screen, and it wasn't executed as well as they could do it.
Connor Mickle making the catch on that one. So they'll be kicking it away, and another good defensive stand for the Edmonton Wildcats with 6:06 to go. High snap, and Sabourin keeps his cool and gets a good one away. Gets a favorable bounce, and stepping out of bounds as he grabbed the football was number 85, Mackenzie Lawson.
And guys, coming up at the conclusion of the Battle of Edmonton, chatting with Jack Ham, the fifth-year guard who is graduating today. So we're going to send some love to the O-line guys. And of course, Jack Hanna, one of the best offensive linemen in the entire country. He of course, completing his fifth year here in 2018. So we'll have a chat with Jack, and we'll try and track down Mr. Schiffner as well. Guys?
There's a handoff to number 28 rather, David Adebayo, and he is stopped just about the line of scrimmage, so maybe negligible gain on that one.
Well, that tackle was by Blaze Beaudry, second-year man out of Jasper Place, and the individual who backed him up on field, of course, Brandon Mellon, also out of Jasper Place.
Boy, what a football family they are, eh? The Beaudrys.
They really are.
Laura's out here selling 50-50 tickets.
They're just a fine family, and like a lot of people who, in the game, you know, they do so much for their kids.
There's another fumble, and this time the Huskies will recover it. And out there to make the recovery was Matthew Lauren, second-year man out of St. Joe's in Grand Prairie. She must be a good 50-50 ticket seller. She talked you out of $10.
Yeah, she did, and I didn't win it, so what? You know what the heck.
We missed it, JB. We've had a few weeks where we haven't been able to, you know, tease you and needle you a bit, so we've been saving it all up.
That's okay. I'm writing down all my comebacks for next week, so you guys be ready, especially Curtis Craig, because I'm going to have some good ones for him.
There you go. All right, out there at quarterback is Jordan Lane. Lane with the handoff, right side, up the middle is number 38, Ben Van Leeuwen. And the big guy just rumbles his way to about a 9-yard gain.
Now, Coach, your recovery has probably been of the, of course, state, and probably a little bit of a setback last night in Boston. So a little bit of yin and yang, but you got to be happy with the Sun Devils right now.
Sometimes.
Motion goes to the left, handoff, Van Leeuwen again. Van Leeuwen carries the ball ahead for enough for the first down, about maybe a 2-yard gain on the play.
Hey, if Oregon can take down Washington, so can ASU.
That's a good possibility. Good possibility.
Absolutely.
Yeah. One thing of that last segment you had there, you're breaking up so much.
Uh-oh.
It sounded like you said 4 words in the whole thing.
This is the economy section down here.
Yeah, economy Mike.
Flankers
right.
out to the left side and passing that way and over the head of the receiver from Jordan Lane. It was intended out there for Morgan Runge from Whitecourt, and he couldn't pull that one down. And
You
again,
remember what we talked about
aiming.
earlier in the game with Swedish aiming that ball and overthrows? Is exactly what happened with this young quarterback. He had Morgan Runge so wide open, instead of just zipping the ball, he wanted to throw the perfect ball, ends up aiming it.
So Jordan Lane, actually a product of the Stettler Wildcats program down there, and not many players coming up from Stettler to play in this league, but certainly he's got a good future. He's got a nice arm. Good pass that time, and the ball is fumbled. No, they'll call it incomplete, in and out of the hands of number 83 for the Huskies, Justin Miller.
Again, young players in there, and they're making little mistakes, and those mistakes turn into big mistakes. That ball should have been caught and should have been a first down. But the ball took a little long to get out there. Young quarterback, not reading it quite as quickly as he could. Ball wasn't out on time.
Okay, time to kick the ball away, and again, time for Cole Sabarin to do his thing. He gets one off the side of his foot. It'll come down at about the 15-yard line, taken by Ramon English. He tight ropes or make that number 85, not 25. 85 is Mackenzie Lawson of the football Lawson brothers.
You know, it's interesting on that because the Huskies had both Justin Odinsky, who does contain for him on the short side. He was in perfect position. O'Shane Samuels down there. And I think it was Odinsky was held and no call. But because he was held, he lost his outside contain a little bit. And the return guy got a few more yards than he probably should have.
Ball on the 26-yard line. Swedish still at quarterback. There's the pass. It is complete out here on this side and taken nicely by number 83, Carter Lawson, again of the football Lawson family.
Now again, a very good route. Nice timing on that. Ball right where it had to be.
This is quite the family of football players.
Absolutely, yeah.
All 3 of them.
Now the corner out here on this short side, he's a second-year player. He's out of St. Avex, Nahom Georges. He was a quarterback at St. Avex, and they moved him to corner. He's a wonderful athlete. And number 11, I think you will see a lot of him next year.
Nahomi Georges.
Nahomi Georges. And you're going to see a lot of him next year with this Husky defense. He might, when you look at his size and his physicality, they might move him inside and take him over for Brandon Mellon. I'm not sure.
Wow.
They've got very, very good athletes.
That's big shoes to fill.
Well, it is. I mean, another fumble.
Picked up by the Wildcats, though, and Johnny on the spot for that one was Anthony Rahe out of Ross Shep High School.
Now, there's a case of a lineman getting downfield being where he should be. It's a very good job.
Yeah. Swedish has dropped a couple in this game, and seems to be having trouble holding on
Well,
to
he
the
might be
football.
holding a little loose, and these guys are coming in punching the ball a lot, and they're taught that way, and they're pretty effective with it.
He'll just toss that one into the stands, and it's going to be called against the Huskies. There's a flag out there, roughing the passer. I think it's going to be the
I
call.
want to see this on the replay because personally I did not feel if that was roughing the passer. The way officials are calling it today, boy, you breathe on him, you're going to get a flag.
Yeah.
I know he gets knocked down here, but if he's in the throwing action and the guy's at speed, I don't know how you can call that play.
I mean, you can't even
they
land.
do
You can't even land with your body on top of a quarterback in the NFL. I mean, it's just gotten to be totally ridiculous. That and the free catch rule and all that kind of stuff. It just amazes me.
You know what?
The Canadian game is far better.
This
far
is
better.
going to be interesting. Oh, they just caught the Wildcats with the UR. Brandon Mellon came in and filled on Swedish here. He hit him a ton. And then somebody took a shot at Mellon. The offensive lineman.
So they just lost the 15 yards they made up earlier.
That's right. And the worst part of it is now they've got second down and about
25.
And guys, these two teams have realized they only have 2 minutes and 10 seconds left, and they won't see each other for another few months, and they're making up for it, guys. Getting very chippy down here.
Out of the pocket, taking off with it is Justin Swedish. Swedish cuts in the middle and is stopped at about the 50-yard line. Nice job of running by Justin Swedish as he ends up his junior football career.
Interestingly enough, he had a receiver deep, but I don't think he saw him. And part of that, he got flushed pretty quick. And Husky tacklers were closing on him pretty quick. You can get very narrow focused when you get heat on you a lot and you're hit a lot in the game.
Blinders.
Absolutely.
There's an offside on, I believe it's going to be on the Huskies. There's the ball. It is put up and intercepted, but out of bounds. And we'll see what the call is going to be. I think the Huskies moved off. A couple of the defensive linemen moved a little soon.
I agree. I think it's offside Huskies, and I think just hard counted them and got them.
All right, they're moving it forward. And it will be 3rd and 15. We'll make that 13. Of course, the Wildcats will stay out there.
And it'll bring up 3rd and 13 now at the 45-yard line.
Go out in a blaze of glory.
Well, I don't know about a blaze of glory, but there is a blaze out there. Number 93, that's his name.
Dustin Pollock in the backfield. He goes roaring out and back in the backfield as well, but in a black and gold uniform was number 76 out there, Colton Densmore, and the rookie from Prairie Fire comes up with a big sack.
That was a nice outside-inside move. He put on the tackle and just beat him clean and got to the quarterback. After he came off that injury in the first quarter, he's played well.
Turnover on downs, and with 1:35 to go, the Huskies will likely just play this one out. Jordan Lane is in at quarterback. Lane, number 14, out of Stettler. Rolls to his right, fires, has a man open, and it is intercepted on a nice job. Coming down out there was Brady Kerr, the Spruce Grove Panthers graduate in his 3rd year, comes up with his 2nd interception of the season.
You know, Brady is a very, very good ball player along with Tony Savchuk out there. That coverage was excellent. Timing on the interception was perfect. The receiver ran a pretty good route, but again, an inexperienced quarterback, if anything, that ball should have been just out of bounds, and he underthrew it a touch, trying to throw the perfect ball. And that's what happens. But a very, very good defensive play by the Wildcats.
Cutter Lawson is out on this side, and it's intended for Lawson. He's being watched, and it is intercepted
by
Naomi Jorgis with the interception. And look at this, the whole bench is coming down to congratulate him. Carter Lawson, the rookie, just couldn't come down with that one. He's out of Wainwright along with, of course, Mackenzie Lawson.
Now there's a case where when you look at it on the replay here, this is actually, I guess we're not getting the replay, but it's perfect coverage by Naomi. And he also knows he's got sideline help, what we talked about before.
Yep.
He turned inside and he saw that ball coming and he saw it dropping inside of him. He knew he had good position. Now, as I said to you earlier, that young man was a quarterback. He handles the ball very well. He's a good basketball player. So, you know, the Huskies have got themselves a very good young man to go in the defense here in the next few years.
Ben Van Leeuwen, the ball carrier again. He'll pick up close to about 6 yards in the play. It'll be 2nd and 4. Down to the final minute of play in this fourth quarter. There's the handoff again, Van Leeuwen. And Van Leeuwen just plows through a couple of tacklers and brings it all the way down to about the 48-yard line. I'm liking what I see out of this young man. I mean, he's big, he's stocky, but he's got some speed to him too.
He's got some speed, and the thing is, he drives those knees high. He's a hard man to tackle. He is, I think he's probably a little heavier than Morgan Runge, but reminds me of the way Runge runs.
Would he remind you of Lavelle Coleman?
No.
No?
No.
I don't know why that name popped up. It just did.
Well, there's not a player on this field. We probably take 2 players on this field and take their thighs would make one of Lavelle Coleman.
He reminds me of Blake Marshall is who he reminds me of a little bit.
You're such a young guy, you don't even know who Lavelle Coleman was.
I'll look it up. The name rings a bell.
I guarantee even on Google they don't have the whole story.
Probably not.
That's what Google's for.
Blake Marshall's going back a ways, guys.
There's the pass, short one, kind of like a shovel pass over the shoulder, and it is again Ben Van Leeuwen. And boy, I tell you what, is the coaching staff ever giving this young man a send-off? Eh?
Well, they are, and then you look at it, what he does, he gets vertical on everything he does. And so he's tough to bring down, and he's going to power you.
Yeah.
He was that way in high school. He's that way now. That the Huskies have a nice blend of backs in their backfield.
Out of Belrose. And that will be the end of the fourth quarter, the end of the football game, and Ben Van Leeuwen will carry it forward again for a gain of a couple of yards. And the score is final, and the outlook is final as well. The Edmonton Huskies will be hosting a semifinal playoff game next Sunday here at Clarke Park, and it will be against the Regina Thunder, thanks to a 42-17 victory over the Edmonton Wildcats. And what a show the Huskies have put on here, and you know, for the Wildcats, it's another year of rebuilding. You don't want to say young Wildcats because they're not really all that young when you stop and think about it. But I tell you, they've had a good season, and they've gained some experience, and that's the main thing, I think.
Well, it is, and again, I hope that the Huskies have learned some things here in this game in regard to discipline. They're going to need it next week. But I also think that what you have found out, you saw with Brendan Guy when he came into the game, it's like you don't miss Tommy Yanchuk. Now, you're always going to miss a Tommy Yanchuk because of the way he plays. But Brendan Guy is so much like Tommy Yanchuk, and he's got that same coolness. And I think that is a tremendous positive for the Edmonton Huskies next week.
And even this young man, Jordan Lane, I mean, he's still got 5 years or 4 years ahead of him, and lots of time to bring him around as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and they are in such good shape as far as the quarterbacking is concerned. Are we going to go downstairs here?
In a minute. He's got to get...
just a bit. Here's Coach Darcy Park, I believe, is heading over to talk with Kevin. But in the meantime, the players with their handshakes after the game, and it's... Boy, I tell you what, you take a look at that. There's a lot of football players out there.
Oh, there are. And, you know, these are all Northern Alberta kids. That's why it's so important to have 2 teams up here. Because you think about it, there'd be about 70 kids not playing football if you didn't have 2 teams here. And there's a lot of talent on both teams.
Guys, coming up, we'll be chatting with Jack Hanna, the guard for the Edmonton Huskies. He's going to represent the Huskies' 5-year players who are graduating. So as I said to Jack, I said, you know what, we gotta give the offensive linemen their 15 minutes of fame because, you know, the most unsung players on any football team are the O-line. So we're going to have a great conversation with Jack Hanna, and he's making his way over here. Yeah, and we'll have a chat with him as well as with Vince Schiffner as well, and maybe even with the coach. So we're going to have a few quick interviews here, guys. So, and of course, Jack Hanna getting a congratulatory handshake from Darcy Park. So, you know what, the rivalry's real, but there's a lot of respect here between these 2 teams. And, well, Jack, quite a performance, a great way to close out 2018. But you got your minds focused on a big game next week.
Yeah, it's going to be a real tough battle next week. I'm pretty sure we're here with Regina.
You are.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's good. That's what we're hoping. I'd much rather have a home playoff game than the 14-hour bus ride to Regina, so that's a really good thing. I thought we came out today and we executed well. We still got to fix up some of the little things that everybody always has to, but I think if we get those taken care of, we'll have a really good success this week.
Now, tell us about, I guess, what are you focusing on in terms of your preparation for next week in terms of, say, like shoring up some of the discipline? There were some penalty troubles in the game. What are you focused on for this week as you get ready for Regina?
Ian always tells us that you can't shoot yourself in the foot, and we did that a couple times today. So we really got to make sure that we really get rid of those penalties. And then just shoring up the little things, especially on the O-line. Like, we got to play with low pad level, good feet, that kind of stuff. And we've been working on that stuff a lot this week. But just clean up the little things, and I think we'll be in a good spot.
Now, this is speak on behalf of the fifth-year players here. You're graduating. This is your final regular season game. You'll have a chance to think about this, a little bit longer at some other point. But what has it meant to you to be a Husky for 5 years?
It's great. I really had to work my first 2 years. I was playing D-line, and that's how it usually goes. I played D-line. They asked me to switch my third year, and I did to help out, and I'm really happy that I made that decision to do that. But it's cool. I'm never going to play in the Cats rivalry game again, but I'll definitely still be a part of it. I know that for sure. I'll definitely come by and watch.
It definitely means a lot to you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It's really nice to close out a win against these guys and really take the win just at the end of the year.
All right, well, congratulations to you. Good luck next week. We'll see you back here next week. Thank you, Jack. Appreciate it. And we'll send things back upstairs, and we'll have a quick chat with. Actually, let's bring in let's bring in Vince Schiffner here. Come on, kept right in front of me here, Vince. And we were saying that Rob Harrod is probably going to tell you at some point that he taught you everything you know. I mean, you made two big plays that really changed the game. First of all, take us through that first one, that strip.
Honestly, I just played the spot and went up and just seen the ball opportunity and took the ball and just started running. So,
and away you went. And I guess how important is, I guess, as you get ready for Regina next week? Regina is an awfully tough club. What are you focused on in terms of, say, if speaking on behalf of the defense, what are you focused on for next week?
Responsibilities. I think as long as we play our responsibilities, we play tough. Play physical like we do, I think we have a very good opportunity to play football. So,
and you had the long pick six as well, a couple of big plays. That was important, and I mean that really the strip and the pick six really gave your bench a lift.
Yeah, I just had the opportunity, and I just try and be a team player, and I just took the opportunity and did what I could.
And Rob Harrod, you got a special message for him?
Thanks for coaching me.
There you go, guys. Let's send things back upstairs to Dave and JB, and we'll wrap things up with head coach Ian McLean in just a second. So we'll send things back upstairs, and we'll come back with the head coach, guys.
All right, we'll do that very quickly, Kevin. No question about that. And, Jack Hanna, great job on the offensive line. What great way to go out, and you take a look at the numbers, and you know that the offensive line did a great job out there.
They did a very good job, and Jack is such a class guy. When he was in high school, he was an outstanding wrestler. Mm-hmm. So that really helps the balance on the line. Mm-hmm. And you look at his footwork. Mm-hmm. He is a very, very good blocker, and he gets on people and drives them. They're going to miss him next year.
And let's talk once more about Vince Schiffner. Those 2 plays, 2 touchdowns, that's 14 points, and the final score was 42-17. So the game was a lot closer than what the score would be.
It really was, and Vince, he saw an opportunity, he took advantage of the opportunity, and a combination of his athleticism and the coaching that he's had over the years, he got that goal line pretty quick. And on that pick, he was deep enough in the zone. A lot of linebackers don't get deep enough. He was very deep in that, got it, broke it for a touchdown.
All right, we have another game next weekend right here, and we're going to be busy, so let's go downstairs. And right now, here is Kevin.
Well, I am joined by the winning head coach here today in the Battle of Edmonton, head coach Ian McLean. Take us through your preparation going into the PFC final. First of all, congratulations on an outstanding regular season. But as I said to Jack Hanna, now the real work begins.
Yeah, well, we got a semifinal. We get to host it, which is one of our goals, right? We want to host playoff games. So we got to now make sure that we clean up some things. Obviously, there's some stuff that there's some good things out there. We've got some things we got to clean up. So we want to make sure that we're fixing some of the stuff on specials, making sure that we're just cleaning things up, making we're going to be a smaller roster. So just make sure we're efficient with what we do and purposeful with what we do. So John's got a very good team. We got to be ready for him.
And what's it going to take to get this team over the hill, over that hump, if you will, to get through the semifinal, make sure that you're disciplined? What's it going to take for this team to take that next step into the championship game?
That process started a year ago. We talked about needing to take that next step. It's one thing to be a good regular season team. It's one thing to go out there and do things well in the regular, but now we got to get up and be ready for the pressure. I told our guys before the game, this is the most important game of our season. Dictated playoff seeding, dictated if we're hosting or not. So they did a pretty good job today. The second half was a bit ugly, but we need to make sure that we take that next step now, because it's been a few too many years of us being there but not able to take that next step.
Now, as a head coach, final question here. Just how proud are you of the 2018 graduating class of your graduating players? We brought Jack Hanna over. We said, hey, the O-line needs a little bit of love here. We're going to give you your 15 minutes of fame. He talked about, as a fifth-year player, he felt, speaking on behalf of all of the graduating players, he kind of gave us a sense of just what it means to be a Husky, and just give us a sense of how proud you are of your of the graduating players here today.
Oh, they've been a huge core of the players that have brought us and taken us to that next level. 6 guys on a roster of about 80. We got a young team. We got a bunch of guys who are learning from their example. So guys like O'Shane, guys like Jack, guys like Jazzy, Jazzy came in as a little porky linebacker from Parkland. He turned into a defensive player of the year. So it's been great to see them grow and develop off and on the field, and how they've grown into great young men. And that's what we want to do. Our job is to help these guys become good football players, but they got to become great young men too. So I'm proud of all 6 of them.
Well, congratulations to you on this victory, and good luck in the semifinal next week.
See you next week.
Thanks a lot, Coach. And let's send things back upstairs one more time to Dave and the coach, John Belmont, and then we'll wrap things up here on this Battle of Edmonton Procast from Clarke Stadium, guys.
Thank you very much, Kevin. And let's talk about next week. We need discipline. Yeah, that's the big thing. We've harped on that probably ad infinitum today. But really, the Regina Thunder, a team that is extremely well balanced. They've got a great running game. They've got a great passing game. Their defense is extremely tough. They kept Calgary off the scoreboard, which is what it is. But nevertheless, they're going to be a lot tougher next Sunday than they were today.
Absolutely, and I think there's one thing that the Huskies will want to try to do, and I'm sure Coach Wallers will be working on this with his offense. They want to keep the Thunder offense off the field. Mm-hmm. That means control the clock, control field position. Mm-hmm. And if they can do that, and what you'll see, I believe, a lot of intermediate passes, short passes, and the running game such that they'll go inside, outside, but they're going to mix it up. Play action passes on first down, mix it up, control the clock, control the field. And I think against Regina, that's huge, because if you do that, you take a lot of their momentum away. Mm-hmm. If you remember last year in that playoff game, it worked the opposite. The Huskies moved down the field, then boom, what did there be? There'd be a penalty or there'd be a turnover. Yep. And all of a sudden, things changed. And by three-quarter time, the score was not where it should have been. And that's the type of thing that you have to work at. So part of it is the discipline of your players as far as the penalties go, but it's also being able to know your game plan and to affect your game plan with just the basic, the commonality of being able to play with enthusiasm. And I think this group will do it. They've got enough veterans, they've got enough young guys that can do it.
All right. Well, JB, it's been a pleasure working back with you again. I'm looking forward to it again next weekend. And right now we're going to turn it back down to Kevin.
Well, thank you very much, Dave. That concludes our 2018 regular season coverage of the Prairie Football Conference. The Wildcats look ahead to 2019 and look to continue this past season's positive momentum, while the Huskies look to make another run at the PFC title in just 1 week's time. And on behalf of executive producer Rob Zitla, we'd like to thank our entire broadcast crew, the hardest working crew in cyberspace. That includes technical director and camera Dave Foley, Kevin Kyle, our switcher, our director Alex Testowich, and on camera Mark St. Arnaud and Terry Arena. Next week, make sure you join us as we will have broadcast coverage of the PFC semifinal as the Huskies play host to the Regina Thunder. Now, kickoff between the Thunder and the Huskies is still to be determined. Make sure you check with the Edmonton Huskies on their website, Facebook, and Twitter for kickoff time. We hope to have that announcement by tomorrow or Tuesday. So on behalf of everyone here at ICU Video, we want to thank you for joining us throughout the 2018 regular season, and we hope you enjoyed our presentation as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. The final score in the Battle of Edmonton, the Edmonton Huskies 42, the Edmonton Wildcats 17. Have a pleasant evening from Clarke Stadium in Edmonton.